Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome to this mega cast of the Dark Heart Tourney I hosted on Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever that I'm coining the Darkest Heart. Today, we're going to be casting the finals first, which may seem a bit backwards, but there is indeed a method to my madness. I am still trying to gather up all of the replays from the earlier rounds, and I don't want to lose any of the most important replays to a FAF update. So over the next month, I'll be casting various series played throughout the tourney, and I hope you all enjoy. Welcome to this tournament, everybody! My name is Willow. I think I already said that in the preamble, which is gonna be recorded later. But either way, today we're casting the finals of the Dark Hearts tournament. The Darkest Heart, as it were. And, yeah, so, about that, I'm gonna explain some things really quick before we get into introducing our players. I'm introducing these players one time, and at the top of the screen here, you will be seeing a live count, or a semi-live count, a count of who's winning and who's losing with their team names. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our finalists. And we're going to start over here with Team 1, over here by the name of Blood Brothers. This is Team Blood Brothers, and we're going to start with the Red Cybern going by the name of Bloodthirst. And then his ally over here to the north, we have another Red Cybern by the name of Bloodborne. And they are the Blood Brothers. Pretty easy to keep track of them. The players mostly keep the same coloring scheme. If there's a major change, I'll try and let you know with something visual on the screen, but I'm just going to be casting it. Moving on to Team 2, otherwise known as the Super Noob Team, we have a purple UEF by the name of Dante going first land. And then down to his south, we have a black or dark gray or dark green Seraphim going by the name of Samus759. Then down to the bottom of the map with Team 3, otherwise known as the T-Baguette Alliance. They are a Frenchman and a Brit working together, and yeah, no, that I'm not going to try and hype up that. Whatever. Either way, we have Orico. I'm not going to try and say Oricoco Rico because that is just going to be a tongue twister. A green Aeon going first land. And then down to the east, which is kind of sideways, not down, but either way, we have a blue Seraphim by the name of Grimplex. And that is all of our players introduced. We're looking at the map now. We can see there's a hearty amount of reclaim, about 30,000 for these three teams to fight over. And of course, we did have an early bomber out, which has heavily harassed, it would seem, Bloodthirst, killing off some early reclaiming engineers. And it looks like his build was relying on that reclaim to work. I'm pretty sure he is in a massive mass stall at the moment. Yes, indeed he is. Unable to get that reclaim, is going to be unable to complete his build on time, going to have to rush up some mass extractors using the comm and some engineers, which is going to be unfortunate. The bomber does go down, thankfully, and that is that. Meanwhile, over here, we can see that Team Samus and Dante are not going to be fighting all too much. They seemingly have decided to just take their islands. They do have some engineers heading out, but it does look like the two higher rated teams, and just really quick, let's mention the rating. The T-Baguette Alliance has 1,600 and 1,700 rating, so that adds up to 3,300 total, if my math really quickly was correct. Then we have Bloodthirst and Bloodborne with an 1,800 and 1,400. I believe that adds up to 3,200. And then we have the T-Baguette Alliance with a 1,100 and a 1,000, which adds up to well, exactly 2,100. So these players, of course, the underdogs. Meanwhile, we do have a T1 bomber out from Dante, going to be trying to deal damage over here to Samus, but not really deciding on what he wants to bomb, kind of just going in circles for not a good reason. Going to be going after this expanding engineer and going to get it. That is a dead engineer for Samus759. Gonna have to get another engineer out there, and that is going to be unfortunate. But we already had an engineer get up here earlier and is reclaiming. I don't know if this has been scouted. Oh, they haven't seen it quite yet. Oh my word, that's quite interesting. Meanwhile, over here we can see that the build for Bloodthirst is not going well, currently sitting at a... Oh, whoa, no, Bloodthirst is doing fine economically. Did manage to either lose or forget a mass extractor, which is a little bit interesting. Meanwhile, the comm is walking over here to the island, going to be grabbing up the reclaim and the mexes over here. Orico's comm is also deciding to go for the same route of grabbing up the mexes and the reclaim over here, so they're probably going to get into a little bit of a fight. Meanwhile, over here we can see that Grimplex has gone for the side island. The middle island is now the home of the engineers. No comms going for it, and we of course see a lot of reclaim going on. Let's go ahead and check those 5-minute reclaim numbers. We see 2.9 thousand and you know, I'm just gonna do it by teams. Team Blood Brothers has 4.8 thousand, Team T-Baguette Alliance has 5.6 thousand, and Team... Wait, no, did I get that wrong? No, T-Baguette Alliance has 5.7 thousand, and Team Super Noob has 5.6 thousand. Sorry, there's 3 teams. It's a lot to keep track of. I will try and do my best. Of course, over here we do have some early naval play. We have a frigate out from Dante deciding to go after the naval production of Samus, who is just now getting their first frigate online. Let's see if it's going to be online in time to try and fight off this opposing frigate. It does look like it will be, and of course, as long as it doesn't... Don't sail out of range. No, turn around, frigate. Turn around. Turn around. Save your engineers and your mother. Save your mother factory. Oh no, that frigate deciding that life was not... Oh, never mind. Here we go. We got it. Just got momentarily confused, you know, rally points and such. Meanwhile, that engineer going to be dying. We can see that the frigate war, fight them like you've never fought before, the frigate war. And yeah, that's kind of what's going on. These two frigates going at it. Meanwhile, we have a constant stream of Zooies coming in. It does look like a couple of mass extractors have gone down to either bombers or Zooies, and that is going to be unfortunate for Samus. Meanwhile, over on this link, we have some hover spam out from Orico going to be causing issues for the Blood Brothers. It does look like it's slightly falling back as a gesture comes out from Bloodthirst to try and deal with this. Air control does seemingly be, it does seem to be in the hands of the Blood Brothers as of this moment. Meanwhile, over here we can see Samus getting a T2 upgrade. Not really much going on to cause issue for Grimplex and Orico. The T-Baguette Alliance looking very strong in this first game of our best of 5. The way the tournament works, I haven't explained this yet, is the first team to 3 wins on this map wins. So we're going to be going until they get a total of 3 wins, one of these teams. Meanwhile, we have a bomber in the middle out from Bloodborne going to be dropping bombs onto this little forward expansion, but now we have some T1 mobile AA that's kind of stopping that from being the dream that they may have wanted it to be. A mech's going down to Jesters. Meanwhile, on the eastern flank, it looks like Samus is having even more trouble as more Navy shows up to cause damage to the factories and such. Samus is still trying to get a T2 upgrade, but it's looking a little bit desperate over here. I don't know how well the Navy will be able to hold out. Dante now sending the comm over, possibly going to try and help out by building some torpedo defense, but it's a little bit of a lost cause, it would feel, as the constant stream of naval and hover units is taking its toll. The factory about to go down. Poor little factory. Mama factory is going to be burned to the ground. Poor little factory. Goodbye, little factory. You were insignificant in the grand scheme of things, and thus you are dead. Meanwhile, we do have Samus759, got that T2 upgrade finished, I believe, yep, and is now walking towards the Zooies, is very damaged on the eco front, currently sitting at only 19 mass a second. I forgot to swap this back over to normal income. As we look at total mass accrued this game, we can see that the T-Baguette Alliance is ahead by about 3k over Blood Brothers, and yeah, about 4k over the Super Noobs. Meanwhile, Blood Brothers, we can see Bloodthirst is getting a torpedo upgrade. Ooh, torpedoes. Everybody like torpedoes. Torpedoes are good for your soul. And we do have a bomber over here going to be shot down by the interceptors out from Dante. And down here to the southwest, we can see a bunch of units out from the Blood Brothers. A bunch of frigates and the odd sub are starting to try and get inroads towards Grimplex and Orico, or the T-Baguette Alliance. I should probably keep on using their name better, but I'm not. Either way, this is going to be a bit of a stalemate, as I believe that Grimplex has overwhelming naval superiority over everybody in this game. The hover really contributing to his ability to keep this up. We've lost all of the core mass extractors for Samus, and that is extremely unfortunate, and we'll have to see how the Super Noob team decides to approach this. Meanwhile, over here, we're seeing a bunch of hover spam combined with the odd T2 shield and naval unit is going to be trying to push the Blood Brothers back. The Blood Brothers continuing to push forward and cause trouble for Orico and Grimplex, but we will have to, of course, see how it all goes. The submarine still over here just going to be flapping away at this frigate. Eventually, it will indeed die. Torpedo might be an important upgrade, but I don't think Bloodthirst can really afford it at the moment. Sitting at a -20 to -40 mass stall while trying to get this upgrade. Can't really afford it. Also trying to produce T2 Navy, just a very expensive situation right now and not a lot of mass to show for it. Meanwhile, over here we see some defenses trying to be built up by the Super Noobs, but it just seems a little bit difficult. We do have T2 Air out now from Samus. We could see some Nathas or torpedo bombers or just kind of any sort of stuff and things. Meanwhile, we do still have a lot of frigates out here for the Blood Brothers, still causing issues for the T-Baguette Alliance, and we'll have to see if they can manage to get inroads and stop the powerhouse that is the T-Baguette Alliance from just absolutely going on a tear and winning game one. Meanwhile, Torpedo has now been paused in favor of possibly getting up a destroyer early. That would be the first destroyer, I believe, to show up onto the map, and that would be very dangerous for the T-Baguette Alliance to have to deal with. But we'll have to, of course, see on that. Meanwhile, we do have more harassment now out from the T-Baguette Alliance, with Grimplex moving his frigates and his Zooies over here once again towards Samus's base. Samus needs to continue to fight. We do have T2 mechs built up again by Samus. Samus managing to get the eco rebuilt, but is now yet again under assault by the Blue Seraphim of the T-Baguette Alliance. Just sending a couple of frigates is going to be killed off by some T2PD, it would seem, and that will be the end of those frigates. We do still have some Zooies, but they are a bit easier to deal with. We see a Volthu gunship coming out to also try and deal with the Zooies and such. And now we are seeing over here the frigates are slowly getting dissipated by this hover spam, not quite able to get to the base and do significant damage. We do have the destroyer now out from Bloodthirst. It's going to be pushing forward, going to be trying to get some significant damage done against his opponent. We have another destroyer on the way, and that one will be built a little bit faster. Bloodthirst unpausing the torpedo upgrade, still in a stall, but is just going to deal with it as it happens. Meanwhile, this destroyer could get in range and start causing economical damage. We do see a TML, a tactical missile launcher, now out from Orico. Is it going to be able to get any substantial damage done? Is it going to be able to hit something? There is a TMD. Is it going to shoot this? No, it slides right past the TMD and is going to land on the T2 mechs of Bloodborne. Oh, that is painful. I think that was a T2 mechs. No way for me to tell now, but that was probably a T2 mechs, maybe a T1 mechs. Either way, we do see Orico over here running away from the naval situation, and it does look like Orico is possibly going to be able to get on land. The destroyer has a lot of torpedo damage, but it's not being focused onto the comm just yet. We have a lot of units coming in from behind over here with Grimplex, and Grimplex is kind of giving up on this, or not giving up, but going to be avoiding fighting Samus for a little bit. Samus has already been brought down to the low ground, been absolutely decimated this game. Meanwhile, we do have a destroyer and these frigates over here still fighting, but the destroyer is getting targeted down. That destroyer is very dark. That might be the darkest Salem. On the Darkest Heart tournament, the darkest Salem decides the day. Meanwhile, the Salem is slowly dying to the frigates, and his allied frigates are not really helping out all that much, and that is going to be a dead destroyer. Oh, that's painful to watch. 200 health and falling, and that's a dead destroyer. And with that dying, Bloodthirst Control K's decides that he can no longer fight this out, and that is seemingly a rage quit here in game 1, but we will have to keep our eyes on how it goes. It is a endurance race, not a sprint. We have many possible games. A total of 7 games could be played today, or could have been played, and we will have to see exactly how many are played and see who our champions are. With that, oh, full share is on, so Bloodthirst Control K'd everything, or they forgot to turn full share on. Either way, that is a brutal situation left here for Bloodborne, and I do not envy his position whatsoever. Meanwhile, over here we do see a bit of a resistance still cropping up. We still see Volthus trying to kill off this hover spam, and we still see these mechs is just impossible to claim for Samus, with the Zoos sitting right here just constantly throwing fire into them. Samus still, I believe, sitting on a relatively low eco of just 22. Dante sitting at 38. Orico sitting at 53. Grimplex sitting at 47. And Bloodborne sitting at 45. So Orico is the mass leader this game. Let's go ahead and check on the team reclaims again. We can go ahead and see that Team Super Noob only at 11,000 reclaim versus the Blood Brothers now at 14,000 and the T-Baguette Alliance at 16,000 reclaim, and that is of course going to be a little bit unfortunate. They probably need reclaim more than anybody else with how this has been going for them. Meanwhile, over here we can see that the destroyer that was built at the end by Bloodthirst is still in the hands of Bloodborne, and Bloodborne is going to try and continue to fight this out, but is again against some overwhelming odds. I don't believe we have T2 Navy quite out. Oh, we do have a T2 Naval Factory done for Orico and a destroyer on the way, but this is just an absolute slaughter of the Cybrans, and it does not look very good for them at this given moment. As we see the players just absolute going at it, we can see more and more Zoos making their way onto land, onto the area that Bloodborne has been trying to reclaim. Meanwhile, we do have a Salem destroyer over here being shot at and possibly killed here in a second. And that is going to be the death of the Salem. Over here we do see some more Salem action is going to be trying to kill off those Zoos, but is not being exceptionally effective in that role. Meanwhile, I believe that Samus did die. No, nobody died. I just heard an explosion and thought it was the explosion of a comm. Can I get everything fixed? There we go, fixing the camera. There we go, everybody. Meanwhile, Bloodborne has finished Torpedo, but that is not going to be exceptionally significant as his base is now being absolutely slaughtered by the Zooey spam out from Grimplex. Grimplex putting on a stunning show of it. Meanwhile, over here we do have Dante and Samus still trying to build up this area, getting up shields to try and defend this against the Zooey spam, but they are massively behind economically and are going to be in a tough situation against the higher rated players, the highest rated team overall of Orico and Grimplex, the T-Baguette Alliance. Meanwhile, over here, the Zooies were cleaned up by Bloodborne. Bloodborne still fighting it out, but it just seems like there is an unstoppable force in this particular match, this match 1 of the finals. And over here we can see a bit of a engagement sparking off between the destroyers and asylums of Orico and Bloodborne's destroyers and frigates. I do believe that, yeah, Orico needs to get out of here. There are T1 bombers, there are frigates, there are destroyers. You are outnumbered, and being outnumbered is generally a bad thing. Meanwhile, we do have T2 Navy now producing for Dante. We could see them attempt to, by them I mean super noobs, we could see the super noobs attempt to get themselves out of this hole by simply building up a large T2 Navy, using Dante's eco to the max, and also hoping that over here there's constant fighting, which there has been, admittedly, constant fighting for a little while. We do have some blazes now making their way towards the main base, a little bit harder to deal with than the earlier edition of dealing with Zooies. Blazes like not really the big brother, but like the next step up from Zooies, and then you have like Yenzines and Blazes and shit. Riptide also in there. The Riptide is a very cool unit. It has like a really cool firing animation, and it has like the pew pew gun. It's got all the DACA. Everybody likes DACA. Don't you like DACA? I like DACA. DACA, 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 DACA. If you don't know what that is, then you should check out this little thing called Warhammer 40k. It is the best place to find all of your DACA needs. Meanwhile, over here we do have Orico walking back towards his base. Why is Orico just spending all of his time in the water? Is he just like a mermaid? Orico the Aeon mermaid? What's going on with you, Orico? Get out of the water. Get out of the water. You're gonna get all wrinkly. Meanwhile, over here we have Grimplex yet again pushing into the base of, or I don't know what to call it, the trading waters of Team Super Noob, taking away their sovereign right, taking away their nation, just absolutely trouncing all over their borders that they have so meticulously drawn, and is going to come forward and be like, well, hello there, I'm going to just blow you up. Meanwhile, all of the frigates are dead and there's just Zooies, so actually that's not what's going to happen at all. We do have torpedo bombers, and they are doing well. I missed it, but Bloodborne died over here. I'm going to miss deaths. Bloodborne killed off by the destroyers out of Orico, the T-Baguette Alliance. Yeah, I'm gonna miss deaths. They're gonna be pushes that catch my eye while somebody else is dying. I haven't done what I normally do with casts and wrote down all the times comms die. In case you didn't know, I do that. That's how I don't miss comm deaths very often. I usually write down when the comm dies, and I make sure I'm near that comm when that time comes. But either way, we do, of course, have one team left. Or two teams left, but one team left in the eyes of Grimplex and Samus, who have absolutely come out in the first game swinging their bats and their clubs and their pool noodles, as they have apparently a mermaid. What? You got out of the water. Why are you getting back into the water, Orico? Is this like some kind of elaborate patrol route? No, you just came out of the water and you're just gonna go right back into it. I don't get it, Orico. I really don't get it. Why are you the mermaid of Faf? Orico, the mermaid of Faft. Of fucking over here, like, I'm not gonna stay. You can't keep me out of the water. I will be where I please. Meanwhile, over here we have a bunch of destroyers just absolutely going to town on the base of Dante. And that looks a bit doomed, if I'm honest. Dante now getting hit with Destroyer Fire himself. Second place! Whoa! Dante celebrating the fact that they were not the first to die. And we can see Destroyers just absolutely going to town on this base. A lot of Destroyer Fire now being targeted onto the comm. The comm may not even make it to the water. Oh, nope. Only a couple destroyers at a time firing at that comm of Dante. Meanwhile, Samus's comm is also on this island, correct? No, Samus's comm is down here in the backside. Meanwhile, we do have a lot of mass extractors going down, and it would seem that Grimplex and Orico have this in the bag, barring some kind of major snipe. We have the Volthus coming in. They're like, I'm going to murder something once I find out where my car keys. Oh no, Jimmy! No! You killed Jimmy! He was my friend of many years. We've killed so many Zooies together, and you just murdered him, you animal. Meanwhile, over here, we do have some destroyers just going about their day. Just those Aeon destroyers are just relaxed. They're just over here like, yeah, we have a big gun. It fires slow. The shot is slow. Yeah, we're just a little bit slow, but it's okay because we're on FAF, so everybody's a tiny bit slow. Oh yes, that's the way to grow a YouTube channel. Insult your viewer base. That'll work out really well. Oh my word. Meanwhile, we do of course have frigates killing off Zooies, a tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme. Zooies will die to frigates, and frigates will die in time. Meanwhile, we do of course see a bit of a push happening. Where Samus's comm is here. Where's Dante's comm? Did it move back forward? Nope, it's still in the water right over here. 3D camera. It's so beautiful. I love it. You don't really realize how flat the maps in FA generally are until you do this kind of shit, and you're like, oh wow, most of this map is flat. Not very realistic, is it? Why is everything flat? I don't know. Meanwhile, we do have a bunch of torpedoes going crazy over here for some reason. But yeah, let's go ahead and get out of this fancy camera, turn the HUD back on, and see exactly what's happening. We're gonna see torpedo bombers come in to kill off the... Oh my god, it's torpedo bombers! I'm just trying to make sure you're still awake. I don't want anybody falling asleep throughout this cat. It's gonna be a long one. Like, seriously, go grab some popcorn, get a drink, find out where your Lord of the Rings extended edition is, because you're gonna be here about the same amount of time, so you may as well knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Mute Lord of the Rings. Who needs to hear that? They have 3 Wilhelm screams. You want to know how many Wilhelm screams I could put into this video if I felt like it? Exactly. It's not that there's not going to be any Wilhelm screams unless I just like decide to jump scare you with one. But still, you ever notice that Lord of the Rings has like the most obvious Wilhelm screams? Like, absolutely crazy. Like, they don't even try and hide it. They're just like, yep, here's a Wilhelm scream. I bet you that most people who've watched the entirety of the Lord of the Rings can just tell you when the Wilhelm screams happen, because like they're so obvious and they're kind of out of place, but that's what makes them so good. Meanwhile, over here we have torpedo bombers flying into their death again. You know, torpedo bombers on my channel have a weird relationship. I get to watch them fly to their deaths 1,000 times. And they get to prove me wrong by eventually killing off a comm or something. But like, it just seems like such an inefficient like weapon in this game. I don't know how much of a fan of torpedo bombers I am, because if you don't have air control or they just have a fuckload of cruisers, it feels like you're gonna lose a bunch of torpedo bombers every single time you fly towards the enemy. But maybe I'm wrong. We do, of course, have these Seraphim ones with a weird name. I never really looked at the name of the Seraphim one. Oisiv? Oisiz? It's a soy boy or something. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, we're just you know what? I'm speeding this up. I'm speeding this up a little bit. We're gonna have to see exactly what's gonna happen. Do we have anything spicy going on down here? No, we really don't. We have a bunch of torpedo bombers still grouping up and doing things, but like, yeah, we're just gonna speed it up. I'm gonna take a drink. Alright, so we're back. Nothing of significance has happened. We do have a missile ship just lodging missiles into Dante's comm, which is interesting to say the least. We'll slow it down as things appear to be happening again. We'll keep it on +2 for a little bit. I'm speedy enough to keep up with +2. Dante taking a whole bunch of fire from destroyers. Actually, Dante is going... I think Dante's dead. Dante's just dead, right? Even with all of the micro in the world, Dante's a little bit dead right here, right? Like, even if you can perfectly predict when each shot is coming out... Oh, no. Coming out of the closet towards his face, it's going to be... he's gonna get away? Yeah, he's gonna get away? He might get away. Okay, he got away. Everybody, he got away. Feels bad, man. Second place, woo, time for mechs killing time. No! I don't consent to this. Feels bad, man. I do enjoy that the players are having fun with it. Meanwhile, 2,000 HP left on Dante's comm, and we can see the missile... Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. I don't know what just happened, but my throat just decided to implode on itself. Okay. That out of the way. We can see about 2,000 health left onto the comm of Dante. We do have a shield boat going to be coming over trying to save this. We can also see that the, whatchamacallit, the naval factory, the naval HQ is being, well, shot at by a giant missile boat that's over here. The Aeon giant missile boat. Oh, no! Oh, no! What did I do? Okay. Professionalism. I accidentally fucking opened Task Manager instead of Control-Shift F1. I should really just fucking not do that thing. Meanwhile, we see Dante over here sitting next to his base. Gonna be taking some fire. I do think that... Oh, is that gonna be it? Oh, it's like a surprise. We get to watch in real time as the comm dies. We get to take a guess. Is it gonna be that shot? No, it's not gonna be that shot. Is it gonna be that shot? No, it's not gonna be that shot. Oh, which one of these shots is gonna do it? Oh, the micro of a god over here, just absolutely dodging everything. He's over here doing the Matrix chimichanga. Chimichanga's a food. I don't really know why I said that. I watched Deadpool recently. That's my excuse. Meanwhile, we have the Dark Heart. I don't know a dance that begins with the letter D. Meanwhile, we have a battleship over here, and we can see a stealth generator trying to be built up by Dante. It's not going to quite work out. We see the comm of Samus is also taking some major damage. I'm determined to end the rest of this cast, by the way, in this, like, cinematic view. Oh my god, so many shots being fired into the comm of Samus, but it wasn't him to go down first. It was, of course, Dante. We don't know what he went down to. We can assume it was a battleship or something. And then the comm of Samus goes up, and we have these beautiful explosions to look at. Thank you all. Oh, Jesus, I just absolutely beat the shit out of my mic. Game 2. And we're now into Game 2. Let's go ahead and point out where each of the teams are. The colors are relatively the same. One of the colors changed from orange to yellow, but that's not too confusing. Up here in the top left, we have ourselves the Blood Brothers. Up here in the top right, now we have the T-Baguette Alliance. And then down in the bottom, of course, now we have Super Noob. So yeah, all of the same players and such. T-Baguette Alliance at this point is up 1 game versus everybody else still sitting at 0. We'll have to see exactly how these players decide to take this match. We could possibly see, with it being a 2v2v2, a gang up attempt onto Orico and Grimplex, the T-Baguette Alliance. They are, of course, ahead, so you don't really want to let them get to 2 games too early, but we will have to see how these players do it. And you can see in the chat, hey, let's move our ACUs to them this time. We can see that Bloodthirst already trying to play that diplomacy game and get themselves ahead, talking to Dante. Gonna try and possibly take out the leading players. Meanwhile, we can see Orico with a build order building a bunch of power. We don't have any early air out of the T Baguette Alliance. Last game they had a first bomber start, I believe. Then down here to the south, no early air. We do have a first bomber now out from Bloodborne. We're going to have to see exactly how effective this can be. Let's go ahead and watch. Over here we have the scout flying over. We're going to want to see if he can kill off enough. We do have an immediate start of a T1 air, anti-air, and it's going to drop right next to that power. I don't know quite how that killed off that engineer. That seemed like a really far drop. Is it going to just go for the power? You could at this point go for the power. It's only 3 passes, I believe, for the power. You might be able to get it done. Meanwhile, heading south, going to be trying to get off an engineer kill over on to the engineers of Grimplex. And we're going to be dropping a bomb over here, going to be killing off another engineer, damaging power even more, bringing those power gens down to 398 health each. It could be a case of the bomber coming over and getting just 2 more bombs. That's all you're going to need is 2 bombs to kill off this entire power grid, or at least a large proportion of it. So we're going to have to see if that's the plan, but it seems instead going more for the engineer kills instead of killing off the power. The bomber currently sitting on 2 kills, going to be going for an engineer here in the back of the base. Is it going to get it? I believe it will. Let's go ahead and just see the bomber going to be dropping their bomb, and that's a dead engineer, and that is another one biting the dust. Bomber getting quite a few kills. Why can't we shoot up? We need to shoot up. We need something to kill this bomber. Well, don't blame me. I built the mobile anti-air. Well, where is it? It can move, can't it? Well, it's shy. It doesn't. It's scared to meet the bomber. Oh, there we go. That's the death of the T1 bomber. Over here in the middle, we do see a bunch of hover spam now making its way to the middle out from Orico. T-Baguette Alliance sticking with their factions of choice, going with Aeon and Seraphim once again. Meanwhile, on the western flank, we can see Team Blood Brothers have decided to go double Seraphim before they were double Cybran. Down on the bottom, we have UEF and Aeon out of Dante and Samus, respectively. Meanwhile, and that is a change. I believe Samus was indeed Cybran the first game. Oh no, they were Seraphim the first game. UEF has been the same for Dante, though. And let's go ahead and see over here. We can see Bloodthirst bringing the comm to the middle. Going to be able to get quite a little bit of damage done, hopefully. We do see a Aurora going down. Is going to be going for this reclaim right here. We can see a lot of reclaim. 2,000 about in just these structures. And we can see in order to get in close over here, we're probably going to see some engineers show up, but with the comm being there in the middle, the comm will have a decent advantage. And we have 4 factories constantly producing Zooies. Is Bloodthirst able to keep this up? Yes, Bloodthirst is able to balance the economy with all of this. Even going to be building some Navy for good measure. So a lot of Zooies going to be coming out from Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst pushing over here, going to try and stop this engineer from getting all of the reclaim from the frigate, and then going to grab the reclaim from that frigate himself. Going to be just getting as much reclaim out of the middle as possible, it would seem, and a whole bunch of Zooies showing up, even getting some Zooie support out from Bloodborne, his ally. And the Blood Brothers are making a heavy play towards the Cinder Island in this game. We'll have to see how that works out. The Cinder Island, obviously the most difficult to hold, but also the most valuable to hold, as you, of course, have to deal with attacks from 2 flanks instead of just 1 whenever you grab one of the outer islands. A total of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mass extractors on that middle island if you can manage to hold all of it. And I accidentally paused there. Bloodthirst going to be bringing the comm pretty much all the way to the island of Orico. Even possibly going to be able to reclaim this naval factory. Is that the plan? Going to be sitting right underneath the naval factory. Could possibly see some damage thrown onto that if there's some T1 mobile artillery. We do have a PD being built over here as Bloodthirst walks his comm up onto the land. and we're gonna have to see. That engineer is going to die, and that's the only one building the PD. These engineers gonna go down as well. Bloodthirst gonna get some decent damage done here. Where's the comm of Oroco and the comm of Grimplex? Oroco's comm is up on the island, the northern island, and Grimplex is the same. So there's only units here to defend, and we can see a bunch of Zooies just coming in towards the base. This is absolutely horrible for Oroco and Grimplex. They were caught out at the possible worst time where neither of their comms are here. And with Bloodthirst's comm being on the island, it is just a turkey shoot, just a open range free game for them. They are going to be killing off so much of the infrastructure that's been built up by Oroco and Grimplex. We of course do see that Grimplex is going to have a little bit more time to hold out, a little bit more time to prepare for this, but as Zooies come into the base of Oroco, Bloodthirst sends his comm down closer to Grimplex, and all of these Zooies are going to kill off this base rapidly. You can see the Zooies doing so much damage with each of those shells. Those shotgun blasts from the sky going to be absolutely pounding this base into oblivion, and Bloodthirst is going to continue to make his way down. There is a PD thrown up. It is a little bit dangerous to walk into a PD, but at the same time, just killing off all of Oroco's base is pretty much all you really need to do. That sets Grimplex back massively. Where is the comm of Oroco? The comm of Oroco is over here, is possibly going to be able to push towards the main island held by the Blood Brothers. I cannot speak apparently, but Bloodborne is there to defend with his own comm, and it's not like you're going to get a massive advantage against the Seraphim comm, especially if you're talking about upgrades. I'm going for his PD. Is that a mention about... Yes, that is a mention about the Zooies killing off the PD over there. So that PD is dead, so now Bloodthirst has free reign to keep walking the comm down. And it's just... Oroco is completely out of eco. Oroco has nothing. Oroco has one mass extractor right now. And Grimplex is trying to hold on, but I don't see it happening. We even have attacks coming out from Samus, who's also playing Aeon. We have Aurora's coming over here and dealing with Grimplex. Team T Baguette Alliance has been absolutely just destroyed this match, dismantled. They both decided to move their comms off the island, off the center island, and that is a bit of an unfortunate situation as Bloodthirst comes in and is hungry for blood, going to be being the vampire of this series, and it just looks absolutely doomed for the T Baguette Alliance. Meanwhile, down here to the south and over here to the west, the Blood Brothers and the Super Noob teams are not being attacked at all. Of course, the Blood Brothers have the advantage of grabbing the middle island, and also they're going to already have a comm over here to build up factories, and they have drops coming. They're going to be able to grab up all of the base area, going to be getting all of this reclaim, of which there is very much. 3,000 reclaim is not an insignificant number when you're only 9 minutes into a match, and we do still see Zooies coming in. Grimplex, where is Grimplex's comm? Right here. Grimplex is going to be unable to get anything done. We see Oroco trying to rebuild on this flank, but I don't really know how he's going to do so. They both have basically retreated to their side islands, but I don't quite know how to deal with this. They are dealt with, plus. Alright. So there we go. We are going to need to see something out of the Super Noobs. A lot of this early aggression out from the Blood Brothers working very well for them, but the Super Noobs are going to need to come up with some way to deal with the Blood Brothers now, as it is a 2v2v2. You can have these little temporary alliances. How to win a game in 5 minutes. But we do see Oroco now fighting off the Navy and some Zooie drops and just Zooies walking over the water, I guess hovering over the water. They aren't Jesus, but still a bunch of Zooies showing up. Meanwhile, we do see a heavy push out of Bloodborne to grab up all of this mass, trying to get as much eco as possible. Bloodthirst not quite so focused on expanding over here, does of course have a little bit more of the middle island to call his own. Meanwhile, down here to the south, we can see a ton of Auroras just pouring damage into Grimplex, and Grimplex is going to be falling down low on health very quickly, down to 7,000 and falling. Let's go ahead and go check on Orica really quick, who is doing a little bit better on HP, but Grimplex is going to be falling back away from the Aurora spam, but I'm pretty sure he's dead either way. I mean, unless he gets like a rank of veterancy very quickly, he's going to be dead. It's 3,000 HP. He's soon approaching, and of course could get behind this mountain to stay alive, but oh my gosh, a micro mistake, accidentally reclaims instead of continuing to move, and is going to be fired at by all of these Auroras. He's trying to get behind the rock over here, but isn't going to quite make it. 1,500 HP and falling. We do see an engineer go down, and now Grimplex is pretty doomed. 1,000 HP and falling. 900, 600, 500, 400, 300, 200, 100, and dead. All of this Aurora spam now completely knocked out. And we do see an all-out push from Bloodthirst of the Blood Brothers towards the southern island held by these super noobs. The super noobs currently under siege by Zooies and having a lot of trouble dealing with it. Meanwhile, down here we do have T2 Navy finally finished, but is the factory going to complete that destroyer before it goes down itself? I do not know. It's at 90% and the HP on the factory is about at 50%, falling quickly, but the destroyer does finish off, can possibly shoot these Zooies. The low firing arc and fast rate of fire of the Valiant class destroyer is pretty decent at killing off Zooies. The factory itself is going to be repaired. Meanwhile, down over here, we do see a bunch of Zooies now firing into the base of Samus 759, and the Blood Brothers are looking pretty poised at the moment to absolutely destroy their competition and take over this match. Both Team Blood Brothers and T-Baguette Alliance have both had a very dominant match so far. We will have to see if the Super Noobs can show up and possibly upset this current match we're in. We can see Zooies going to be slowly dying. We have a bunch of Auroras coming back home to defend, but just a torrent of Zooies just absolutely heading towards this base, going to be devastating, as they're going to slowly kill off the structures, and any kind of navy that you produce will be targeted by these Zooies. And we of course see mass extractors going to be going down, if not already dead, and they all seemingly are already dead. Samus and Dante trying to hold out valiantly. Dante's calm, walking into the Zooies saying, "I will not fall without taking a few of you bastards with me, you seraphim bastards." And he is going to be taking a lot of damage. Let's go ahead and turn the HUD back on, get off the free camera, and just check what's going on. We have T1 bombers now coming out, trying to deal with all of this. We do have some T2 mexes over here. The Zooies are going to kill them off. Samus, having built a large line of naval production, is not going to be able to keep it alive much longer. And over here to the north, we can see that Orico is falling low on HP, down to 700 HP and falling due to these Zooies and the frigates. He has to dodge all of these Zooie shots pretty much perfectly to be able to stay alive much longer, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Zooie's going to keep on firing, doing their thing. Actually regenerating health right now, able to dodge off pretty much all of the Zooie fire. But one good volley of Zooies hitting him is a death at the moment, and 700 HP is going to be able to survive a little bit longer, but it is all for naught. Meanwhile, down in the south, we can see Dante is trying to defend, but still unable to. Samus bringing the comm back onto the water to fire some shots towards these Zooies. The Zooie menace this game, absolutely just destroying this match. Zooies have decided it easily, and I'm pretty sure this match is pretty close to done. I'm gonna speed it up so we can go ahead and get into match 3 and see exactly what these players are going to be doing. We do see the comm of Bloodborne coming down to attack Dante, and we do see that Samus is going to try and rebuild. Swokal trying to cheat. Swokal is an observer this time. The comm of Dante is going to be going down relatively soon, I believe. It is losing health quite rapidly. We have Samus at a much healthier point. And let's see, is it going to be able to kill it off in the water? No, it's not. So Dante survives another day. Samus, on the other hand, over here fighting to the last. Meanwhile, up here to the north, we do see Orico in a lot of trouble. Going to be getting shot at by Zoomies, up to 2,000 health, so healthier than he was a little bit ago. Samus running away from the Zooey fire, but dies on the way out, and that's the death of our first player for the T-Baguette, or no, that's the death of our first player for the Super Noobs. The T-Baguette Alliance having only one player left, and the Super Noobs only having Dante down here to defend himself. Meanwhile, over here, Orico still just trying to build defenses, trying to keep himself alive. Seems like a foregone conclusion. We're just going to go ahead and speed up to ×10. And see exactly how these players die. A bunch of Zooies converging onto the position of Orico. Orico going to be attacked by a Calm. Orico going to be going down first. That is the death of Orico. And now down to the bottom, we see a hopeless attempt to get Ras on the Calm of Dante, who control Ks. That's the end of Game 2. Let's move on to Game 3. And onwards we move to Game 3. Yet again, the players have swapped which islands they're on. Let's go ahead and get into introducing who is on which island and the overall score at the moment. So currently we have the Blood Brothers over here on the right island, and for some reason Bloodborne has changed their color again, this time going gray. And then we have down to the south, the Super Noobs. And then to the west, we have ourselves the T-Baguette Alliance. So the score as it stands as we enter Game 3 is 1 win over to the T-Baguette Alliance for Game 1. Game 2 was won by the Blood Brothers, setting them at 1 win. Then the Super Noobs are sitting on a big old goose egg, haven't won a game yet, but maybe they'll win this one. Either way, let's go ahead and go into some minor changes. Bloodborne has gone Aeon, possibly for the possibility of, the Aeon Hover, the Auroras. Bloodthirst, still Seraphim. Down here we have a Cybrin for Samus and a Seraphim for Dante. Then we have a Seraphim yet again for Grimplix and Aeon once again for Orico. Orico is a big Aeon player and I appreciate it. Aeon, of course, being the best faction. But yeah, that's where we sit as far as this game is concerned. We can see some early scouts, some early spirits out from Bloodborne. We're going to have to see if anybody decides to go for the early bomber play. But this time, there's no first airs for the early bombers, so nobody going to be getting any of that cheeky bomberage going on. Let's go ahead and look over at the Reclaim tab. I'm going to keep it on Reclaim for the early game, and we can see the first team to pass 1,000 Reclaim is going to be the Blood Brothers, as the second team to pass it is going to be the T-Baguette Alliance, and Team Super Noob is a bit slower on the Reclaim uptake, but they will catch up, I am sure. Meanwhile, we can go ahead and check on the early action. We do have an Aurora now out from Orico, and this spirit is in an heated battle. One second. I want to see. Oh yeah, you get that, engineer. You get it. You get that, engineer. You got this. You got this. That engineer is yours to claim. You and your 2 DPS gun. You can get the engineer. You can do it. You can, no, turn around. Go away. You can get reclaimed. Oh no, you got reclaimed. This engineer's a murderer. Send this man to prison. I know it's an antenna or something, but it kind of looks like it has like an alfalfa sprout. It's pretty great. Ooh, look at that, we're zoomed out, we're very weird looking. There we go. And yeah, that's the that's the extent of the early gameplay going on. We do have Dante moving their comm up to the front, going to grab this mix. He is going to be getting very much mix, going to be getting very rich. Meanwhile, over here, we do see Bloodthirst also moving his comm to the middle. Could possibly see a fight in the middle for once. Last game, of course, Bloodthirst and Bloodborne doing a very aggressive play towards Orico and Grimplex, and it working out quite well. Orico and Grimplex this time also, this time it looks like Grimplex might be staying on his island, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But it does look like Orico is still opting to go to the northern island, going to try and take that for himself. And that we'll have to keep an eye on that. Bloodthirst still making his way to the mid, still now here. Possibly going to build that mech. Yep, building that mech up as soon as he gets in range. And we do see some early air scouts, but no bombers as of yet. We do have our first few naval factories coming out from both Team Super Noob and Team T-Baguette Alliance. T-Baguette Alliance already at 3 naval factories, and we have a second coming online for Samus of Team Super Noob. Meanwhile, Dante is fighting for the middle, having a very mean disagreement with the ground right here. Gonna be pushing up to get a little bit more as we can... Oh, wow, that's really weird. Shadows are really not good for Seraphim comms. They look very weird. They're very triangle-y. Meanwhile, over here we can see, of course, these units constantly pushing forward, going to be harassing anything that may come. A lot of reclaim here in the middle, going over to Team... Oh, wow. The comm of Bloodthirst walking all the way over to the main island of Orico once again. Going for that, or the main island of T-Baguette Alliance, but more specifically Orica's base. Let's go ahead and check on the reclaim before the action breaks out. We can see 7.2k for T-Baguette Alliance, 4.1k for Blood Brothers, and 5k for the Super Noobs. Bloodthirst going to be reclaiming this frigate that's in a current battle. The frigate is going to die now. It's pretty much doomed to die. After that, a pause. Okay, go, sorry. What happened? I have early land scouts checking for ACUs. Time to shine, Dante and Samus. Shine? GG, well played. Good luck, have fun. Okay, a bunch of confusion in the chat. But yes, that frigate out from Orico does go down. We do see another frigate show up for Grimplex. Bloodthirst keeping his comm there. He's just standing there menacingly. But now deciding it's time for the comm to come back onto the land side of things and do some significant damage, but maybe not going to be able to with a opposing comm and 2 PD there. It's gonna be a bit harder to do what he did last game. Maybe if he immediately went on the aggressive, he could have managed to get a little bit more done before these PD were done, but not going to happen. Meanwhile, down here to the southwest, we can see that Dante has decided to bring Zooies over and just kind of abuse the mass extractors and the position that Grimplex is in, putting a lot of pressure onto T-Baguette Alliance right now. Both teams going after them. It is currently a 2v4, it would seem. Meanwhile, there are frigates up here fighting. Some Zooey support, meaning that this frigate out from Orico has a little bit more work to do, has to be microed quite a little bit more to get the same work done. Also, it has to fight this frigate, which is now at higher health, so pretty sure the Aeon frigate is going to die there. Meanwhile, we do see Bloodthirst sheeting up towards the north, deciding not to continue trying to push the front door down. Instead, going to just keep on moving this way. Meanwhile, down here, Dante's lost the land spam. It has been pushed away. Because you bully my friend. We just noob. Why you bully me? Never, a lot of bullying talking about right now. 6 enough. I'm stalling 6 mercies. Okay, so we do, that does tip me off to there is a snurpy mice, a mercy snipe on the way. I really love me a snurpy mice. The mice that's all snurpy. Oh god, I can't speak to save my goddamn life. Meanwhile, there are frigates fighting frigates and Zooies, and frigates, just a bunch of frigates. Frig that, frig it, frig everything. Yep. We're outnumbered. Well, die already then. Stop complaining and get in there and blow up. That's all I'm asking for, is some pretty explosions. Oh, pretty explosion happening there. Another pretty explosion. Ooh, well, we're gonna get even more pretty explosions. Possibly. It's very possible. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. Could I please press the right buttons? Thank you. Alright, so we press the right button. We do have Mercies being built. I don't know where they're storing the Mercies. We do have a Mercy coming over here to the middle of the island. It has gotten shot a little bit. Sorry, they are necessary. If you make no ships, that team loses. Make ships next time, please. 6 enough. I didn't see the Mercy snipe or the Snurpy mice at all, but we do have Bloodborne now walking the comm over here, trying to attack onto Samus. Samus's position, but the Mercies don't seem to have anything going on. It does look like Navy has been pretty definitively lost for Team Bloodborne. They don't have much naval production whatsoever, and now frigates are at their front door. We do, of course, have Zooies trying to help, but that is going to be a bit of a failed effort. The Mercies, unfortunately, unless they are flying over the Aeon frigates, cannot fly over the Seraphim frigates. The Seraphim frigates will kill them. So they have to be very careful with these Mercies. One of them already down to 2 HP. Very weak guided missiles. Only 10 HP to spare. But this Mercy snipe not quite working out as intended. It does look like Team Blood Brothers is going to be in a rough position this game, not having any map control really. Meanwhile, in the middle, Dante has managed to claim pretty much all of the central area on this island. Is going to be in a relatively strong position. I would like to see some more naval production, as it's just Zooies right now. Bloodthirst decides to control K. That is the end of Bloodthirst. Bloodborne is now also in trouble. The Mercies were killed off by some interceptors out from Grimplex. So yeah, that's about that. Bloodborne down here on the southern island deciding that how is just the tip burning? It's just the tip. The tip is the only thing burning on this comm. It feels like you could just like shove it in, shove the tip of your arm like into a rock or something, and it would stop burning. Okay, whatever. That's interesting. Meanwhile, we still have Mercies being produced. We still have the chance of a snipe, but it's getting less and less likely with each passing second. Bloodborne calling the GG and just gonna kind of go AFK. Not really got much to do, it would seem. We still have 5 Mercies, of 6th on the way, but there are interceptors incoming to kill off the Mercies, and they die with 1 pass. And yep, that's a bunch of dead Mercies, a very expensive loss. And it does seem like Team Blood Brothers has just collapsed. Meanwhile, on the western flank, it seems that Team Super Noob is putting up quite the fight against Team T-Baguette Alliance. They are going to be in a difficult situation against this team, but they still have a chance. Bloodborne deciding to control K himself, and now we have an all-out naval battle, T1 naval battle going on right here. We can see the units out from... Oh, wow. Actually, I think Grimplex's units are falling back a little bit. We have a ton of hover spam. We even have T2 HQ out from Dante, so we could possibly even see an attempt at getting Yinzines in here to even help with the hover spam. We'll have to keep an eye on if he decides to do that. Is there Yinzine production coming online? No, we do not see any Yinzine production. Do we have any naval production? No, we do not. Meanwhile, Orico has managed to get in some frigates down to the production area that Samus is at, but a destroyer is about to finish, and the second that destroyer finishes, it will be able to kill off all these frigates, but will it be able to save its HQ? We will have to see. Oh my word, this is a very important situation that needs to be remedied for Team Super Noob. Team Super Noob now over here firing the destroyer shots. Of course, 5 frigates is not enough to kill off a destroyer if unmicroed. The frigates are currently unmicroed, but I don't know how it's going to work out with the air over here. This frigate will get, or this destroyer will get very low, but it's going to kill off all 5 frigates that were sent out and keep itself and, more importantly, the HQ alive. Meanwhile, over on this flank, it's completely collapsed. There's no frigates left over for Team Super Noob, and we're going to be seeing a bunch of frigates end up destroying off all of this Zooey spam. Dante deciding not to get into the naval game, instead going just for hover, maybe coming to bite the team in the ass, really. But over here, we do see Dante, or Samus, still trying to get up more destroyers, is going to be grabbing the reclaim so that the destroyers can be built faster. But is it going to be enough? If you can get up a few destroyers to just kind of deal with the hordes of frigates, you could possibly see a win coming out of this. We don't have T2 on the cards yet for T-Baguette Alliance. They don't have T2 Navy just yet, but they have expanded over to the former island of the Blood Brothers and are getting quite a little bit of mass income. Meanwhile, the middle still held by Dante. Dante able to keep solid control over that middle area, sending out patrols of Zooies to try and get around and cause issues for the mass extractors built up by the T-Baguette Alliance. And we do see a bit of a turtle situation appearing as we have PD and shields being thrown up by Dante. Dante going to be trying to defend all of this off. The destroyers and frigates of Samus are going to try and hold here. We do have a lot of reclaim picked up by Samus. I haven't really been looking at the main eco of these players. We can see that these frigates are coming in, and we do have some torpedo bombers now coming in to help kill off the destroyer, and that might just be the death of this T2 Naval HQ, and if so, that's going to be super painful for Team Super Noob. That's their only real way back into the Navy game right now, and we can see that these frigates are pouring damage right into that naval factory, and maybe Samus can get a repair order off and kind of save it, but the frigates are going to be moving on now as there's more and more torpedo bombers amassing. That could be the straw that breaks the camel's back, as it were. The destroyer continuing, or another destroyer being produced, another destroyer getting out here, going to be shot at by all of these frigates, but is it going to be able to kill off enough frigates in time to save its HQ? The HQ always at this precipice of death, it would seem, and the destroyer is going to be killing off multiple frigates in very quick succession. Maybe the torpedoes can save it, but this frigate is going to get the killing blow. 6 HP, it manages to run away. It's going to fire its guns maybe one more time. It does kill off the frigate in the last second, but that destroyer is also dead now. So that is very unfortunate. You're only going to get 40% of the mass you throw into that back. You only get half the reclaim off of ships or units that die in the water. We do have some Zooies over here taking over the island in the middle, and we have an Aurora push to the island in the middle, and that looks like a Control K of the factories in the middle. That is unfortunate if that's the case. Those factories could have still been able to produce units and save off their factories and these mexes here in the middle held by Dante. And we have more frigates moving in towards this HQ. This HQ still trying to produce destroyers. Let's go ahead and check on the overall eco. We have 84 mass a second for Orico, Grimplex sitting at 45, 60 for Samus, and 35 for Dante. Meanwhile, when we look at overall reclaim, we can see that Team Super Noob has managed to grab up a total of 20,000 reclaim, and Team T-Baguette Alliance have gotten 32,000 reclaim. Still relatively even in the overall gathering of mass. The team's only separated by about 4 to 5k, or actually 6k total mass accrued at this given moment, but it's going to keep growing as T-Baguette Alliance continue to grab more of the map. As you can see, all of these mass extractors, T1 as they may be, will be giving a lot of eco every single second over to Orico, who has controlled all of this. Meanwhile, down here in the corner, we have some sneaky frigates just deciding, oh yes, they'll never see our giant navy if we just hide in the corner. Trust me, it's a foolproof plan. Oh yes, and the Zooey's over here like, you see anything? Nah, me neither. Don't worry about it. The Zooey's with their weird lightning hover pattern that isn't directly under the Zooey, and that kind of bothers me. Does it bother anybody else that it's not directly under the Zooey? Like, look at it. It's like so offset. That's weird. From this angle, yeah, it looks like it's directly underneath the Zooey, but from this angle, it's obviously not. That is honestly a bit strange. We do have a destroyer out now from Sam. It's going to be attacking these frigates at range, possibly, but oh my word, over here we see a massive amount of frigates now out from Orico. Orico getting up a lot of naval production, and now we're going to start seeing T2. We're going to start seeing the Aeon destroyers. Very, very nice to have Aeon destroyers. I don't know the name of the Aeon destroyer. I can't remember. It's like Siren class is their cruiser, right? It's Siren class cruiser. It's Beacon frigate. What is the name of your... Hey, one second. I need to talk to you. Exodus class. Oh man, I knew that. Oh, he's actually going T3. He just skipped the T2 phase entirely. I wonder why you would skip it though. I would think destroyers would be very useful right now. Meanwhile, frigates and... wow, the destroyer is going to be shooting at these frigates for a while, but that destroyer is pretty doomed if the frigates don't get... if the Zooeys don't get a lot of work done. Meanwhile, we are going to see this destroyer be killing off frigates and a lot of Zooeys pushing up towards the north, taking out all of the eco on this island that was just built up by Grimplex. Meanwhile, this island still managing to be held by Samus. Team Super Noob showing signs of life, still fighting, still trying to get things done. We do, of course, have some Wagners now out from Samus, going to be trying to get them out onto the land, possibly cause some real damage, and there's not really many torpedoes to deal with this, so the Wagners do get kind of free reign. Where are they being ordered to go to? They might go up to this back island. It's a lot less defended, I would imagine. And we do have a battleship now on the way for Orico, deciding to skip the destroyer phase and go straight to battleships, which might be the call. I mean, honestly, your opponents probably can't field enough destroyers to kill off your battleship, and battleships are pretty good at killing off destroyers, so I guess that is a good strategy. Meanwhile, we do have a destroyer over here in the middle, going to be killing off a lot of this stuff that's been spammed up. This destroyer is sitting on 14 kills, putting in work at over 1,000 mass killed already. Meanwhile, Wagner's just sitting over here launching torpedoes, having themselves a good time. The Wagner torpedo is not that strong, is it? Like, what is the stats on you? Wagner Mason torpedo, anti-navy, has a damage of 15 and a fire rate, a reload of 4. It has a total DPS of 7, which is a bit pitiful, because 3 of them are going to take a really long time to kill off this frigate. That frigate in particular, fuck you. Fuck you in particular, Mr. Frigate. Yep, you and your hovering guns, or your guns sitting on platforms of light. You will not be missed, and you deserve all of the pain that's to come your way. Come on, die already. I want to see this explosion. It will be pretty. Today, Junior. Alright, there we go. Frigate finally dying, as it deserved. And now, it's on to this frigate. This frigate is the one getting screwed over now. When are you just going to produce a submarine and kill off these Wagners? Or are you just going to ignore it? No submarines in production. Nope, none. The Wagners finally given orders to go on land, which may be the death of them, because they can now be shot at by the frigates. And the battleship that is just completed for Orico. So, yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. But the Wagner's deciding, like, yeah, no, we like it more in the water anyways. I don't know why I'm focusing so much on these Wagners. It's just comical to me. We do have some torpedo bombers now coming out to kill off the Wagners, unfortunately. They don't get to kill an entire navy by themselves. We have a Spectre gunship now out from Orico, going to be killing off some T2 mexes out from Samus 759. We also have some gun-through artillery now spammed up. 3 of them. That's a heavy investment, but it will be able to shoot back at some of this navy. But we do have to worry about this Omen-class battleship. In fact, you know what? I've never really done this. Let's track a naval unit. Let's track a naval unit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, tracking naval units. Let's see where this why did I say submarine? Where this battleship may go. Well, this is fucking boring. Alright. Oh, man. Over here, the Interceptor's trying to kill off the Spectre, who is sitting at 4 vet. No, 3 vet. 3 vet from killing off those mass extractors, and is now going to be making its way back in, but it's relatively low on health. 300 HP is not quite enough, but it's going to be going for this mass extractor, and if it gets a kill on the mass extractor, it will be able to get another rank of veterancy, but I don't know if that's gonna yep, that's dead. It's a dead Spectre. He was a hero, but he lived up to his name. He was a ghost. He no longer is among the living. Meanwhile, over here we have the Omen-class battleship now starting to move into range. Going to be killing some Mantis with quite a bit of fervor. Can we now track this? Will this be more interesting to track now? I just want to know, does it like show me the firing of the guns? No, so it's not like a bomber where it follows the bomb, which is unfortunate. It should follow the shells. Man, this battleship can turn really fast. Also, battleships and like in reality, I know this game isn't very grounded in reality, but like you would need some incredible engineering to make ships just turn on a dime like that. Like no movement forward and able to just turn. Usually you need a tugboat to make that happen with modern normal ships. Okay, so what shit? Okay, this Omen class battleship is having trouble deciding what it wants to do with life. Meanwhile, we have T3 Air out from both teams. Grimplex and Dante, respectively, both have T3 Air produced. That's a lot of T3 engineers. Did you make? Yep, they made a quantum power generator, and now they're gonna make an Omni Ray. Omni Ray. Woo! We do have artillery firing towards the Omen, and yeah, that is what it is. The Omen's getting decent kills. I just want pretty pictures. That's all I want is some pretty pictures. Alright. Oh, are you gonna... Oh, no, you didn't. Damn it. Meanwhile, over here, we have some Zooies doing Zooey things. I'm gonna speed up the game. These players aren't killing each other. I need them to be more aggressive. Do something. Poke it with a stick. Come on. It's okay. There's no need to be shy. We all appreciate you for what you are, and what's going on. Let's keep zoomed out so I don't miss anything. We have of course, Torrent class missile ship now firing missiles into the base. This is a very slow siege out of Orico, but I will say it's effective. There's not really much that can fire back at him. We do, of course, have T3 mass extractors now at risk. Let's go ahead and slow it down as they're finally starting to do something again. T2 Navy and some battleships meeting up with the Navy of Orico, who just happens to have a lot of frigates. And a lot of frigates are good. There's a reason why on Settins and any Navy map you see somebody produce frigates, like high-level players produce frigates all the time. It's because they're really good at doing this. 1, fucking up all of the AIs, like all of the targeting. 2, getting in close and just dealing some damage. And 3, soaking up damage, because you kind of need to kill them. Like, doesn't matter what you're doing, you still need to kill off the frigates, even if it's a slow process. You have to kill off the frigates. They're really good meat shields for your important units. Because you'll notice the frigates are getting shot at here, but what's not getting shot at is the Omen class battleship or the Torrent. So yeah, that's generally what you do with a bunch of frigates. You just kind of send them into their deaths ad infinitum, and you use your bigger, better ships to not die. And yeah, this Galaxy class battleship is not long for this world. Is going to be dying off very soon. These frigates, some of them may even survive, which is the important part. Like, that's the impressive part. Those frigates, they're gonna survive a battle that, like, if the battleship wasn't here, they'd all be completely 100% consigned to death. We do have a lot of T2 production now online. We're going to have a lot of T2 ships coming up very soon for Samus. Samus probably, yep, still in a very bad mass stall. And Orico has built a GC. And you know what? You know what? I just, well, actually, maybe I won't. You know what? I will. I like tracking things. Let's track this, and then I'm gonna speed up the game. You can see on the minimap, it's just the same old siege is happening. Samus is in a lot of trouble. Samus is not having a good day. The GC is walking to the base. Let's go ahead and see exactly what's happening. Orico still sieging. You can still see some missiles flying and some crazy shit happening over here. And then we have the GC who waddles through the water and comes towards them. Samus was defeated by Grimplex. It seems that was probably a torpedo bomber snipe, as the GC gets in range and is going to be destroying off this island. Oh my word, that's the calm of the Seraphim player known as Dante, who is now dead. And that's the end of Game 3. Onwards and forwards to Game 4. Welcome to Game 4 and match point for the T-Baguette Alliance. If they get one more win, they will be the winners of the tournament, bar none. So we will have to see how this shapes up. The total overall scores are going to be 2 for the T-Baguette Alliance, the Blood Brothers sitting at 1, and the Super Noobs sitting at 0. Over to the western side, we of course have the T-Baguette Alliance in their standard blue and green coloring. Then over to the east, we have ourselves the Blood Brothers, this time Bloodborne deciding yellow once again. And that is, of course, going to be their island with Bloodthirst and Bloodborne. Then down here, we have Dante and Samus, the Super Noobs, going to be taking up the mantle of the lower island. And I'm going to go ahead and speed up the early game. We will keep track of any kind of bombers or such going on, but for the sake of everybody's time, sitting through the slow early game is generally going to be is just not worth it. Meanwhile, we do have a scout on the way out for Orico, going to be heading towards the island of the Blood Brothers. The players do know where the other factions spawn simply because they were in the lobby, and that's how they are deciding the locations of each players. And yeah, so the T-Baguette Alliance does, of course, know the Blood Brothers are over here. The Blood Brothers, having played very, very aggressive games as of late, we have a second air factory now out from Bloodborne. And we do have a second air factory also out from Bloodthirst, both players going for a synchronized strategy. We have an air factory finally coming online for the T-Baguette Alliance here at about the 3-minute mark. And here we have a Aurora killing off what I believe was an engineer, possibly a Zooey. And there does seem to be a little bit of a play for the middle of the map. We do have Bloodthirst's Calm now coming out to join the middle of the map. And left drone started for Samus. We'll have to keep an eye on that, see if it does anything interesting. We have a T1 bomber coming out, going to be going for this Aurora Scout combo. Let's see if it's going to get both with one bomb. No, it only manages to get the Spirit Scout. Is the Aurora going to die in another pass? It does look like it. That's the death of this Aurora, completely and utterly destroyed. And this bomber is going to give them a lot of control over this middle island. We do, of course, still have some floating hover spam coming out towards this island that can be an issue, but Bloodthirst's Calm will ensure that this area is going to be going to the Blood Brothers. They are fighting heavily for the middle. Bloodborne's Calm also getting in the water and heading to the west. Meanwhile, Orica's Calm is heading up to the northern island as normal, and the Calm of Grimplex this time deciding to stay in the base to avoid what happened in the earlier match where Bloodthirst and Bloodborne just walked their comms over, or I guess it was just Bloodthirst's comm, but there was a heavy aggressive push. They're trying to avoid this from happening again. Meanwhile, Bloodthirst going to be hunting down some Auroras, and Bloodborne going to be making his way to the middle island now. We do have a mechs being built up by an engineer out from Orico, but I have a slight feeling that that mechs is not long for this world as Zooies start to stream out of the base of Bloodborne towards the central island. Of course, Zooies not so great at killing off the tanks, these Auroras, but it's okay because you have a comm here to kill off the Auroras, and the tank is going to have to fall back or be annihilated. Meanwhile, down to the south, we can see that Dante has done a drop and is playing heavily towards this southwestern island, going to be trying to hold on to this with everything he has, it would seem. Meanwhile, we do have early Navy started up for both of these super noobs, so that's going to mean that they'll be in the Navy a little bit earlier. In fact, every team going for naval factories, every player has built at least one naval factory. Dante's is going to be finishing soon. He will be joining the yacht club, as it were. Meanwhile, an engineer over here deciding that this reclaim is very much so valuable and valued it over its own life. What is that? That's a PD? That looks like a Seraphim PD it was trying to reclaim. Yep. And over here to the north, we can see Orica's Comm has managed to take over this island and is going to be able to hold control of it for the moment. Meanwhile, we do see a lot of Zooies congregating here in the middle, and both comms of the Blood Brothers here, they could make a push for Orico and Grimplex Island, the T-Baguette Alliance's holdings in the Dark Heart sector. Meanwhile, down here, we're seeing a lot of factories going up for Dante and for Samus, going to be able to produce a lot of frigates. A early submarine now out from Bloodthirst, and that could produce issues for the early frigates out from the T-Baguette Alliance. The Blood Brothers not really putting any pressure towards the super noobs, deciding that they would rather strike their strongest opponent first in almost all of these games. Bloodborne now walking his way over towards the Auroras that are down here. We do have Zooies. This Aurora, as well as its well microed, can survive everything. An Aurora going down to Zooey fire up there. We do have a frigate coming in now to try and deal with this. We have 4 factories over here, all producing frigates for Grimplex, 2 already completed. and that means that this Zooey spam is going to be able to be cleaned up pretty easily as long as Grimplex moves the frigates up to try and help with this. The Calm of Bloodborne going to be walking towards the island. There's already a PD up and a couple more buildings, so we will have to make sure that this does not go too hairy for him. The Calm of Grimplex now heading down. He's throwing shots at this PD, but oh Jesus, hit the wrong button. But it is hitting the wall, and we can see that the PD is perfectly fine. The wall has taken some damage. Bloodborne falling back into the water, going to get a little bit safer. Bloodthirst's Calm coming up a little bit more southernly on the island, possibly going to be able to go for the base of of Grimplex, sorry. Grimplex building up some PD, going to be trying to get some more defenses in his own base. One of the PD going down for Orico. Meanwhile, the Zooey spam out from Bloodthirst, helping the Calm of Bloodborne fight this off. A bunch of Auroras here to defend. Orico's Calm deciding to stay on the island, not going to be pulling that back, deciding that it would take too long for the Calm to get back and they need to hold with what they have. A bunch of frigates showing up. This is dangerous. I think Bloodborne's probably, yep, Bloodborne needs to get back into the water to keep himself relatively safe in this one. Bloodthirst still in the water, not really able to do much against the frigates, but the frigates can't do much against him. We do still have that T1 submarine that can run around killing off frigates. You need to get another submarine up to deal with it, and I don't know if they have any building. They do. There is a, I believe that's called the Sylph T1 submarine out from the Aeon player, Orico, going to be trying to get that up. As far as factions are concerned, everybody's kind of stayed the same. We have 4 Seraphim spread out, and then 1 Aeon for T-Baguette Alliance, and 1 UEF for the Super Noobs. Meanwhile, we do have a frigate spam heading towards the island of the Blood Brothers. We do have a lot of production up here, and we have a T2 factory finished relatively early. Is Bloodthirst able to afford building this destroyer? Yes, he has a very well-balanced eco at the moment, so that destroyer will be out in a matter of a minute or so. So these units will be in heavy danger very soon. They just need to be stalled out long enough that they cannot stop the production of this destroyer that's on the way. We do have some frigates now out from both Bloodthirst and Bloodborne trying to hold us off. We have a submarine now out, still out over here for Bloodthirst, trying to kill off some of these frigates. This frigate's probably going to die, and these 4 frigates out of Grimplex now making their way down, going to be putting a lot of damage into this frigate out from Bloodthirst. How Essel. Seraphim with their weird-ass naming schemes. Why can't they just have beacons and sylphs? Sylph? Something like that. Meanwhile, we do, of course, see that these frigates are about to be running into a destroyer as it completes. The destroyer currently submerged, but going to be emerging from the water, unsubmerging. What's the opposite of submerging? Submerge, raising, unsubmerging, I don't know. Either way, these frigates are really dead, and this is going to leave a nice little bit of reclaim on the coast of the Blood Brothers Island. There is, of course, some reclaim over here, but not nearly as much as is going to be left over here. A bunch of frigates from the T-Baguette Alliance are going to be dying. Once you get some engineers out here to reclaim, that's going to be giving you a temporary boon to your economy. Going to be able to get out a few more frigates per second. Or per minute, I guess is what I should say. Meanwhile, we have a T1 bomber that is trying to survive frigate fire and does barely manage it. Of course, the Aeon frigates not having AA is a big disadvantage when you're having to deal with things like bombers. But an interceptor squad comes over and absolutely destroys it. You can't really get good shots of interceptors, I feel. Like, it's just a lot more difficult. That's a pretty good shot of an interceptor squadron. But, yep, that is pretty much all that's happening. Meanwhile, down here, Dante has built up a decent amount of naval units, and we also see Samus building up a nice amount of naval units, not quite producing as many. I think Samus is on a much weaker eco at the moment, 34 mass a second versus 43. As we look at the team's overall reclaim numbers, we can see 12,000 for both the Blood Brothers and the Super Noobs, and 14,000 for the T-Baguette Alliance. The T-Baguette Alliance have been very good about reclaim this entire series. We have another push out now with a bunch more frigates, and it's forced the destroyer out from Bloodthirst to submerge is going to be falling back quite a little bit. Might need to what's the fucking word? Surface it? It might need to surface that destroyer. I'm sure somebody's already said that. It's surfacing now. I've remembered. But gonna need to surface that destroyer. It has been surfaced. Gonna need to be able to fire at those units that if they do manage to come back. We do have a cruiser now out for Bloodthirst. Of course, this won't help in the naval battles, but will be able to siege and cause massive issue to possibly these mexes up here. All of them have been upgraded to T2. Earlier, multiple T2 mexes went down to that earlier push with the Zooies, so that is a very important piece of eco for the T-Baguette Alliance. Looking at the overall ecos of these players, we have 43 mass a second for Orico, Grimplex sitting at 37, Bloodthirst sitting at 43, Bloodborne sitting at 23, Dante is sitting at 45, and 43 for Samus. Currently, overall, in total eco gathered, it does look like the Blood Brothers are behind, whereas in the lead is actually the Super Noobs. The Super Noobs have managed to eco up during all of this and get a lot of power, and we see a bunch of bombers now heading towards the base of Grimplex. We also see the comm of Bloodborne is a little bit low on health, sitting over here in the middle, but is going to be moving over here. We have a large battle going on over here, and we have a bunch of power being destroyed off by the bombers out from Samus. Meanwhile, Dante has a decent naval force right over here. We have a large naval push now out from Orico, and it is going to possibly cause some major damage. This cruiser may be going down momentarily, and that would be unfortunate. Trying to fire some tactical missiles towards the ships very close, but even with the ships being very close, it's exceptionally easy to dodge the cruiser fire. We have another destroyer coming up. The original destroyer does seem to have been destroyed, and I believe it's actually this wreck right here, the 900, that's being reclaimed up by Bloodborne. Meanwhile, we can see all of these units are just constantly throwing fire towards each other. The frigates out from Orico having to fall back as a massive push out from Dante has managed to gain some ground and is in the production facilities of Grimplex, causing him massive trouble. We do have some torpedo bombers now out to try and deal with this, but that may not be enough. Dante getting quite a little bit of work done with these frigates, but is going to have to fall back as his numbers dissipate due to the frigates of his opposers and these torpedo bombers, but is going to be able to pull some pressure off the Blood Brothers as of the moment, and going to be able to continue to fight over here. We have both the comms of Bloodborne and Bloodthirst coming up to this northern island, going to possibly be able to kill off these T2 mexes. If that happens, that will be a huge hit to Orico's economy. You can see each of these producing 6 mass a second. 6 times 3 is 18. That will be a third of his economy, if not more, down. And that will be extremely painful. T2 on the way for Orico. Maybe can get up a bit of a fire base to defend off these comms, but the comms are coming now, and that upgrade is not done for a few more seconds, and seconds do matter in this situation. Every second is one that you cannot get back. Meanwhile, Bloodthirst and Bloodborne are just absolutely pushing in, killing off a bunch of Auroras, going to be killing off those mexes as fast as humanly possible, and going to be hurting the economy of Orico heavily. Meanwhile, back at the base, we can see only one T2 Mex has been built up back here. We have another on the way, but that may not be enough. We do have cruiser fire trying to kill off this power generator out from Orico, and that could be important. The cruiser does die, though, so we're not going to see any more cruiser fire for a minute. A game pause for some reason or another, and that is pretty much all that's going on here. Meanwhile, up here in the north, we can see Orico is going to try and defend this area by building T1 PD, but I'm not sure how effective that's going to be. These eruptors are going to be, one's going to finish, but is that going to be enough? Orico now deciding to fall back, as 2 comms can definitely deal with a T1 PD just fine and then come and kill you. So Orico going to be getting back into the water like the evil mermaid that he is, the Aeon mermaid. I'm kidding, he's not evil, he's just Aeon. And Aeon is the best faction. So he's actually the good guys. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, over here we do have a couple of destroyers out. Most of the T2 T2 Navy is now being produced by our red Seraphim over here for the Blood Brothers. The only tech advantage we're really seeing at the moment, other than T2 Air out from both of the T-Baguette Alliance members, but these destroyers are giving a lot of leeway. He may not have as many frigates, but he is able to just constantly throw these at it. A large naval force now out from Samus and Dante are going to be causing issues. And do we have anything? Nope, just good luck, have fun. Yeah, that's GG. 4v2 again, Orico. Little bit salty about the fact that he's getting 4v2'd, but the Dark Heart is not a game about playing better. It is a game entirely based around diplomacy. To come out on top on this map, you have to. It's like Phantom. You have to just convince everybody that you're not here. Your goal is to be unnoticed for as long as possible. And honestly, the team that's doing that the best right now is Team Super Noob. And as we look at the total reclaims of each team, we can see Team Super Noob is at the lowest. But how is that affecting the match? Well, it's not hurting them whatsoever. They've accrued the most mass with 82,000 total mass accrued compared to 71,000 for the T-Baguette Alliance and 70,000 for the Blood Brothers. So the team that's being the least aggressive right now is currently in the lead, I would say. And then overall with mass generation, it's just, you can see that the Super Noobs are far ahead of the curve and will be able to produce much larger navies. Meanwhile, the entire base of Orico is being destroyed, and that is going to be absolutely brutal. These Zooies and these frigates just throwing so much fire into the base. The Zooies are is he going to destroy off every building of Orico's while Orico sits here in the water just like, no, don't do it. Meanwhile, over here we can see a bunch of frigates firing into the production of Grimplex and the odd destroyer. The production out from Grimplex may be killed off momentarily. Meanwhile, a major push out of Samus and Dante. The Super Noobs now pushing towards the base of the Blood Brothers. The Blood Brothers have nothing here to defend. They're throwing everything at Orico and Grimplex, the T-Baguette Alliance, and you can see that the TBA has been absolutely decimated, with Orico losing literally every structure except for one single mass extractor on the map. Doesn't even keep the mass extractor that was built back here. Absolutely brutal. This destroyer could just submerge and still manage to get... Yeah, it could kill off all of this by just submerging. You could just submerge the destroyers and kill off all of his naval production. I don't know why you're doing that. I guess you do want to deal with the fact that there is a large contingent of naval forces now out from Samus and Dante, the Super Noobs, striking a very vicious blow against the Blood Brothers, going to be pulling some attention off of the TBA, the T-Baguette Alliance as it was. I'm going to just start calling them the TBA because it's a lot easier to remember and say. Meanwhile, over here, we can see that the destroyers out from Dante combined with the mass T1 spam out from Samus are managing to make inroads towards killing off these naval production structures. The T2 HQ already dead for Bloodthirst. He's working on another factory up here that might be turned into an HQ, but for now there's no more T2 tech coming out from the Blood Brothers, so whatever T2 units, whatever destroyers, cruisers they have, or what they have to work with, we do still have a decent amount of production now out from Bloodborne, going to be able to come over here and support his ally. A lot of Zooies still around, going to be able to deal damage. We did lose a T2 Mex, which is a little bit painful for Bloodthirst, but not the end of the world, not nearly as bad as what happened to Orico, who's now trying to rebuild desperately. And of course, we can see the destroyers fighting. God, this game is so beautiful. Just look at it. Oh my word. We can see this absolute battle just taking hold of everybody's consciousness at the moment. So much fire being exchanged. I wish I could turn off this part of the HUD. I'm gonna have to turn it off whenever I go to make another video here soon. By the way, there's gonna be like a highlight montage epic video about this series. Not this particular series, the entire tournament, as it were. And with that, we have a bit of a lull. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of torpedo bombers going for the calm of Bloodthirst, going to be hit by a bunch of torpedo bombers that are making passes out from Grimplex. 4 in total, a 5th on the way. And Bloodborne needs to get back onto land. Where's the calm of Bloodthirst? Bloodthirst is already onto land, and these torpedo bombers are going to start making massive inroads. There's not enough interceptors to kill them off at the moment, and there's a nice interceptor screen out now from Grimplex, and Bloodborne is now in a difficult situation, going to be losing a lot. Meanwhile, a ton of T1 bombers now out from Dante are trying to kill off some of the structures for Grimplex, but I'm going to keep an eye on the comm of Bloodborne. It is in huge danger as of the moment, and we can see that Bloodborne manages to get out of the water in time. Do we have any kind of T2 bomberage to come over here and deal with this? I do not know. Does Grimplex have anything? Yes, there are some Notha bombers coming in to kill off the comm of Bloodborne. Bloodborne needs to circle, needs to micro it, and no, he's not. That's going to be the death of our first player, and the death of the first player from the Blood Brothers. That is Bloodborne defeated by Grimplex with a torpedo and Notha snipe. And that is going to be exceptionally painful. But meanwhile, what did it cost? It cost him all of his core mass extractors that came out from Dante's T1 bombers that we saw earlier. They managed to kill off all of this, and we do have a bunch of tactical missile launchers now available to the Purple Seraphim of Team Super Noob, and right now it's just looking like Team Super Noob is winning on every front. They've managed to absolutely annihilate the economy now of Dante, or of Grimplex. I don't know why I keep on confusing them right now. This is a second day of casting. The first day I couldn't get all of the casts done in one day, and I don't know why I can't get my head back in the game. Meanwhile, we can see Grimplex on 1 mass a second, doesn't have a single mass extractor. Orico on 33 now after grabbing up a few mass extractors and upgrading some, and that pales in comparison to the 82 out of Dante and 113 out of Samus, and that is just going to be brutal. Let's go ahead and check on reclaims again. We can see that the Blood Brothers are now in the lead with 29,000 reclaim, and behind them, of course, are going to be the whoa. Okay, never mind. I was looking at the wrong number. Behind them, of course, are going to be the TBA. They have managed to grab up 22,000 reclaim, and then 13,000 reclaim for the Super Noobs. Overall mass gained, though, the Super Noobs are up to about a 34,000 mass gained total over both of their opponents, and over 50k now for their opponent known as the TBA. Meanwhile, down here we do have a bunch of naval units out from the Super Noobs, a whole bunch of T2 units and the such. It does look like the Super Noobs have been pushed off of this area, and T2 tech is already back online, and a second T2 naval factory on the way for the Blood Brothers. Bloodthirst now piloting the ship by himself, getting gifted over all of the production and all of the holdings of his Bloodborne blood brother, and is now the sole CEO. It used to be kind of a joint operation, but now the sole proprietor of the Blood Brothers Incorporated. Seraphim, it's a Seraphim company that's coming to colonize formerly human-held planets. So yes, it's very interesting and very cool. It's brand new stuff. It's new age. It's hip, as the kids say. And we have tactical missile shots flying in from that tactical missile battery built up by Dante. More tactical missiles now flying towards the base of Grimplex, who is just trying to rebuild his base and is in such a difficult situation. Of course, it does make sense that the T-Baguette Alliance is getting hammered down this game. They, of course, as I said at the beginning, are on match point. So if they manage to pull out a win here, they win the entire tournament. It is over. And these other two teams, the other two teams of finalists, do not want this to be over just yet. They still want their claim to fame. They want to take this tourney to the limit. Meanwhile, we do have a little bit of a push out from the Super Noobs, trying to just make sure the Blood Brothers do not get strong enough. They want to get their names on the board. They want to turn this 0 up here into a 1, and they are in a strong position to do so at this given moment, but they do need to play their cards properly still. We are seeing, a tactical missile at some point killed off the T2 power. How is that affecting Grimplex's power? Well, it's fine because he doesn't have anything really spending power at the moment. He can barely afford the mass needed to run his factories, as far as I can tell. He can't even afford that. He has he is over here like he can't scrape together 2 nickels for good luck at the moment. He's in a very bad economic situation with 8 mass a second. And this is going to be the naval production of Grimplex going down. What is in my base to kill with Janus? T1 mechs. And apparently there was a Janus over here. There is a Janus over here out from Samus, going to be dropping bombs on to the leading team. The T-Baguette Alliance still getting focused down. Honestly, it's not personal. Remember how they killed you last round? I saw an opportunity and I took it. Dante, a calculating man, a man of numbers. He has crunched the numbers. While you were sleeping, he was building a supercomputer in his backyard, and he has decided that opportunity is calling, and he is going to absolutely pound the T-Baguette Alliance into the ground. Meanwhile, a relatively large push. It's not as scary as it looks. All of these Zooies are very easy to deal with, but it does just kind of look like a lot to deal with. We have some Yenzines in here as well, but a decent hold now out from Bloodthirst, who is also throwing some cruiser fire towards the base of Samus 759. We are going to have to keep an eye on this flank, but I think this is much more interesting. Now, the T-Baguette Alliance have officially, for the first time in this game, been completely shut out of the water. All that's left is 7 frigates left for Grimplex. This is all he has to call his navy, his powerful, powerful navy. He's not a landlocked nation. He is not like the navy of the... he's not like the Polish Navy, as you were. I don't think Poland has naval access. Do they? Do they have coastal access? Hey, Poland. What do you look like? 1 second, everybody. This is intense stuff. I need to Google this. Poland. Can I get a picture of Poland, please? Does Poland have naval access? No, I don't want news from Poland. I want to see. Oh, Poland does have naval access. Okay, then he's more like he's not Slovakia. He's more like Poland than he is like Slovakia. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know why I didn't think Poland had naval access, but now that I think about it, they definitely do, don't they? Everybody likes Poland. They're like they're the hottest new place this century to invade. You gotta invade Poland at some point. Otherwise, are you even really a major empire? Oh my god. Meanwhile, over here we do have a bunch of torpedo bombers going towards the... Well, by a bunch, I mean 2. Listen, numbers are hard, and 2 is a big number. I'm no Dante. I'm not crunching the numbers over here. I barely can count to 6. Thank you, American school system. But... Oh my god. Meanwhile, we have some Janus coming over here from Samus, going to be killing off quite a few structures. I would have liked to see a Shift G instead of just going after that one mass extractor very intently. Could have killed off like 3 or 4 mass extractors, but instead deciding to focus onto that one mass extractor. But still, getting damage done is getting damage... What the... How does this work? What does this button do? Why is that taking me there? Okay, I'm sorry that was super confusing. I pressed a button on my keyboard. I pressed V, and apparently it just moves my camera to certain set locations. I don't get that. Is there like a Alt V? Whoa, Alt V? Oh, Alt V gets rid of the border. Guys, I'm learning hotkeys with you right now. Okay, Alt V, turn it back on. Today we're playing with the UEF border. You can tell because it's all like a UEF, and even their circuitry is blocky. Also, you can see that it kind of fucks with the world because you can like see the UEF border. I don't know why I'm not paying attention to the game anymore. My ADD has completely taken over from minute like 28 to all the way to minute 30. It's just like, oh fuck it. Yeah, I mean, you've made it this far. Are you even really... Most of the people watching here at, like, the 2-hour mark are asleep anyways. You all are just using me to fall asleep. Wake up! You gotta watch some faff. You see? Oh, yeah, you see? Meanwhile, we do have a small navy out from the Samus squad, causing more issues. All of the core mass from Bloodthirst's original base completely destroyed, decimated, absolutely annihilated, control-K'd practically with extra steps. And now we have destroyers killing off more mass extractors. This is just a very bloody battle going on here. And we do see that the T-Baguette Alliance have managed to eco back up both onto T2 mexes, but both of them are in a rough spot still. Not really having that much naval production. We do have Navy again. They are yet again Poland. The UK and the Frenchmen are now Polish. Or the Brit and the Frenchman. The British person. Most of my fan base is either Russian or European, and then like I have a large chunk of United States people, and I'm pissing off all of the Europeans right now. Like and subscribe if I got something wrong about Europe in this video. Oh, man. Alright, over here we do see Samus building up some Sams, which is, half of the name of Samus is Sam, so it makes a lot of sense. You need these. These are important. We also have a ton of Clink Hammers. How many Clink Hammers you got? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Clink Hammers. That's a lot of Clink Hammers to be lobbing shells at anything that might come from this direction. Meanwhile, over here we can see a frigate's angrily killing off an engineer out from Bloodthirst, who is slowly hovering down into the icy abyss, never to be seen again. I don't know if the waters are cold, but it is the Dark Heart, so I doubt it's a very warm place. Like, you have greenery and foliage. I would guess it's kind of like a tundra, but not quite cold enough for it to be ice. Like, yeah, like a not frozen tundra. Isn't that called like something else whenever a tundra isn't frozen? It's called like a taiga? Is that what it's called? I don't know. We're talking about geography at this point. Meanwhile, we do have a bunch of units moving their way over towards the north from Bloodthirst. Lots of units. So, yeah. Oh, I figured out what country I would be, by the way. Like, if I were a country, I would be Switzerland, because I don't participate in anything, but I do watch. Let's just talk about more European countries. Let's see how many I can piss off in one video. Oh god. So of course, now that I will go back to casting the game and I'll be good. It was kind of boring for a minute there. Meanwhile, over here we do see a large T2 Navy heading towards the T-Baguette Alliance. Is it going to stay here, or is it going to move back down south to deal with the threat? Anytime the Blood Brothers move units off, or Bloodthirst in particular, but the Blood Brothers move units off of this southern kind of channel, they do get absolutely focused down by the Super Noobs. The Super Noobs much more concerned with the Blood Brothers at this point than the T-Baguette Alliance. We have a whole bunch of TMD now spammed up over here. I think it would be better to just reclaim these TML at this point. Like, just pause all of their production, have them all fire their missiles, then reclaim them, because they're not going to get much more done against at least the T-Baguette Alliance. You could maybe get this mechs if you launched them all. That might be a decent strategy. We don't have TMD built yet. There is TMD queued out of Orico. Meanwhile, over here on the eastern side of the map, we can see the Super Noobs are pushing in further towards the Blood Brothers. And the Blood Brothers still with that nice amount of hover, a huge number of Zuis. Let's see exactly how many Zuis. We have 44 Zuis and 8 Yinzines. That is a not insignificant number of Zuis and Yinzines to help out this naval force. But I'm pretty sure that Bloodthirst has been... he keeps on cheating up towards the area held by the TBA, wants to probably fight them, but isn't currently able to. And we do see the comm of Grimplex going back onto the island. Is Oriko still being a mermaid? Nope, Oriko is on land, has evolved from a mermaid, and is now a frog. So, Oriko the frog. I hope Oriko watches this and is like, why do I keep on getting called mythical creatures or animals? Because I feel like it, Oriko. Meanwhile, we do have frigates just over here getting shot at by cruisers. Is it gonna die? Nope, the cruisers don't have the greatest aim in the world. Meanwhile, we do see the Blood Brothers yet again, Bloodthirst, over here, going to be cheating up towards the T-Baguette Alliance. Could this be the third time that Oriko loses everything? Like and subscribe to find out. Come on, you've made it like 2 hours into this video. If you aren't subscribed, god damn it, press the button. Also, leave a comment. Tell me why Aeon is the best faction in the comments right now. And if you don't think Aeon is the best faction in the comments, please just go ahead and write out a long paragraph about how you are wrong. Share it on socials too. Like, fuck it. Just be an attention whore for me, please. And in return, I will continue to make shitty content. For all of your Forged Alliance Forever meme needs. Actually, I don't meme all that much. I should create memes. I really should just create memes and just throw them in videos randomly. But that requires more effort than I currently throw into my videos. Meanwhile, over here, we do have the base of Oriko getting destroyed for like the third or fourth time. The base of Oriko. More T2 mechs is going down. You don't even get to reclaim them because it's Zooies, so they overkill it and then kill off all of the wrecks. And as the TMD goes down, we're going to be seeing even more issue because the TMD is stopping the cruisers from getting large leeway on this. Yeah, we still have a couple of cruisers. How many cruisers you got? You got 2 cruisers. 2 cruisers is enough to cause an issue. Oriko control K-ing, deciding that this is not the match that he wants to play anymore. Saying enough of this. Explosive is very mean. I will leaves with full bombardment. Okay, let me leave in peace. I won't come back. Saw an opportunity. They are ecoing. Enough of this. Alright then. That's interesting. And yeah, here we go. We do have a bunch of fire being flown into the base of Grimplex. Grimplex in a rough situation. The comm of Grimplex over here now being shot at by the torpedoes. That's what they're called. The torpedoes. The torpedoes are being fired into the comm of Grimplex, and he control Ks. Doesn't even manage to kill off a destroyer for his troubles. And that leaves just Team Super Noob and Team Blood Brothers. But Team Super Noob now has T3 ships, Neptunes, and Seraphim battleships now firing into the base of the Bloodthirst man. And Bloodthirst control Ks. Well, that's the end of Game 4. Let's move on to Game 5. Welcome to Game 5! A little bit of a disclaimer about this game in particular. It has a desync. The desync does happen before like the last few seconds. The desync does affect some minor things that happen, but I'm casting all of the games from the finals regardless, so Game 5 has a desync. Let's go ahead and get into where the players are. Everybody has the same colors from last game. Team Super Noob is on the eastern flank. Team T-Bagged Alliance, or the TBA, is down here on to the south, and the Blood Brothers are to the west. So that's what we're looking at for this game. Yet again, we're going to speed through the early game at ×10. And if we see a bomber come out, then we will slow it down. We do, of course, have the early scout coming out and a bunch of chat happening. In fact, while I read the chat, let's slow down the game to normal speed. I'm going to read the chat. Oh, this is the one I was in where I was saying random stuff. Nice pun with the U4 whisper. Alright. Oh, U4. Oh, U2. U4 instead of U2. Oh, that's pretty good. That is a good pun. I do like that. Meanwhile, we do have an Aurora out, going to be killing off an Engineer out from Bloodthirst, which is unfortunate. We have a Bomber going to be coming out to kill off the Aurora. I think I've seen this before. Last game, wasn't there a Bomber killing off Auroras and Spirits in the middle of the map? Oh, well, I guess it's totally a different game. Everybody's at different starting positions. As I take a hearty swig from my bottle filled with liquor. I'm not actually drinking liquor, but you know what? Kind of wish I were. It would make the casting thing a little bit easier. Meanwhile, over here we have Orico. Going to be dropping bombs onto the Engineers. Going to be killing off 2 Engineers. Or not Orico, the Bomber out from Bloodthirst going to be killing off Orico's Engineers. Orico going for the island again. Every game, it seems, he goes for the island, and then we have some kind of pressure out from the Blood Brothers. And it's looking quite the same here with Bloodthirst, yet again making his way to the middle of the map with the comm, still going to keep this up. And of course, we still have this double Seraphim going to be helping each other out. We're going to have a bunch of Zooies yet again coming out from the base of Bloodborne. So we're going to possibly see same-ish strategy. We don't have quite the same naval presence out of all of the teams. We do have a very early naval play out of both Grimplex and Orico, both of them getting up factories as quickly as possible. A bunch of factories going up for Grimplex at the moment. We do have Engineers over here for Samus going to be trying to get a beachhead established on this island. And Dante having transported up here once again to grab this island. The Team Super Noob has been rather consistent in their strategies this game, or this series. They have decided to try and take side islands, not really worry about the middle island, and try and eco up, tech up, and get themselves into a good position early and eco-wise. Now, is it going to work again? They are the tremendous underdogs, and as we can see, they've managed to even pick up a game. It's 1-1, respectively, with the Super Noobs at 1 win, the T-Bagged Alliance at 2 wins, and the Blood Brothers at 1 win. The T-Bagged Alliance still on game point. If they win this match, they do manage to clutch out the tournament. Now the question is, which of the other 2 teams do we think is going to pressure them the hardest? It does seem like the Blood Brothers are going to be going for the early pressure again, yet again using Zooies and comms to cause damage towards their opponent's side. We do have gun speed and range finishing up for the Blood Brothers on to Bloodborne in particular, and that could be a deciding factor this time. I do think we're probably going to see some preemptive PD if I were a betting man. After seeing all of these Zooies, you can kind of predict what's about to be coming. You can be like, well, I do not want this to happen. Bloodthirst spending a lot of time to kill off a factory and does manage it, getting a bit of progress towards that veterancy. And we do have T2 on the way for Samus's comm now as well. Samus switching from UEF over to Cybran, and instead of Seraphim this time, Dante is running the UEF, so that is a little bit different. Meanwhile, we do see multiple players making their way down here. Bloodthirst and Bloodborne are currently going to start walking their way across the channel towards the T-Bagged Alliance's main base. We do have a factory out here in the front. This could be dangerous. 2 comms can just walk up and reclaim that factory and stop it from producing any kind of units. So here in Game 5, this could be a very early loss out for Orico, going to be losing their 3rd naval factory. It's not the end of the world, but I'm 99% sure Bloodthirst and Bloodborne are just going to decide to reclaim this every single time. Another factory started up, but if that finishes, it'll just be reclaimed too. And yep, you can go ahead and see Bloodthirst already doing the reclaim order, already going to be grabbing up the reclaim onto that. And another reclaim order comes out, and the health points just evaporate off of that factory. Going to even get some mass out of it, which is always a nice little feature of reclaiming your opponent's structures. We have 4 T1 bombers coming in from Samus, going to be hitting the power grid and killing off 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 power gens for Grimplex. How does that affect his power grid? He is absolutely in a stall now. Grimplex not able to afford this. Going to need to pause some factories and get everything building power gens again, and those power gens have to be replaced. If they are not, that's going to be absolutely brutal for Team T-Baguette Alliance. You cannot sustain a power stall for too long. Meanwhile, we do have a PD built up over here, and we do have the comm of Grimplex still here. Orica's comm still going for this side island, and may leave them at a disadvantage. The gun comm on Bloodborne is still going to be powerful. We do have a bunch of frigates, though, that are going to be making their way over towards the comms of Bloodthirst and Bloodborne. Most of the Zooies have been dissipated out by the Aurora and frigate spam out from the T-Baguette Alliance. Grimplex now out here fighting off with Bloodborne. Bloodborne in a bad situation, honestly. The frigates can put out a lot of damage towards the comm. Bloodborne probably needs to make their way back into the water. Bloodborne very unhappy with the situation, throwing out the ellipsis and deciding, oh, time to get back in the water. This was a wasted gun upgrade almost entirely. Does get 1 veterancy out of it, but is going to be forced back. And now the Blood Brothers are very poor on the naval front. We have 5 naval factories constantly producing out for Grimplex. Meanwhile, we have 5 between the Blood Brothers, and of course Orico even has some factories producing naval units. So we're gonna have to see them get into the Navy game pretty early on here. We're gonna possibly even gonna need to see the comms get up onto the land and fire at these frigates, get some overcharges in. That is an effective strategy. Maybe even get some reclaim onto some of these frigates. But meanwhile, over here we do have Samus with a large naval production of their own, going to be heading over towards this area, going to be posturing in this channel over here to the east of the T-Baguette Alliance's base. And we're going to have to see if Team Super Noob yet again can manage to get up their eco in time to just absolutely overwhelm the rest of the map yet again. Meanwhile, we do of course have these, these frigates are always going to be sitting here doing their thing. We do have a Mantis patrol trying to make sure they hold control of this island for as long as possible out from Samus. We do have a lot of scouting going on. Let's go ahead and check on the early reclaim numbers here around the 10-minute mark. We can see that the T-Baguette Alliance is sitting at 15,000. The Super Noobs at 12,000 and the Blood Brothers at 9.5 thousand. As far as overall economy is concerned, it does look like Team Super Noob is managing to catch up with the economy that's been gathered up by reclaim from the T-Baguette Alliance, and the Blood Brothers are behind by about 5k. So that is a significant number at this point in the game. We do have some frigates and some submarines out from Samus harassing the Grimplex, but Grimplex just has so many frigates so early on. We're only at 10 minutes and 22 seconds, and he has 14 frigates. That's a lot of frigates to deal with, and going to be very difficult to keep up with this level of production. But Samus does have the same number of factories, is getting T2 on one of the factories, so that means only 4 factories producing at any given time. But meanwhile, anytime Grimplex moves his navy to deal with one of his opponents, the other one swoops in immediately. There is just constant pressure onto these players, onto the players of the highest rated team in this tournament, and it is going to be relatively difficult to deal with constantly being attacked by two teams. It's so difficult to deal with. It's not impossible. You can manage to win out of this if you just can possibly decimate both of their armies at one time, just absolutely destroy them, annihilate whatever they have at one time. Then you can just focus on one for a little bit, but it is a hard ask out of any player, let alone the players who are in the lead, who will never be given a pressure release. There is no release valve on the pressure that's being placed onto these two players at this given moment. But this game going much, much better for the T-Baguette Alliance than the first game. Not quite losing out quite so much against the Blood Brothers. And even with the pressure out from the Super Noobs, it does seem that the Blood Brothers are still the main force, the main cudgel that is being used to bludgeon against the T-Baguette Alliance. But over here we do see Tech 2 out, and we do have a Vesper in the water to try and deal with this spam out from the Blood Brothers. That is going to be significant. The Vesper will be killing off a lot of units and not have a real counter until we see Tech 2 coming out from the Blood Brothers. We don't have a Tech 2 naval facility yet, but we could possibly see one very soon. Wait, we do! A T2 HQ behind the island out for Bloodthirst. Do we have our Bloodborne friend also going T2? We do. So this time we're going to have double T2 Navy coming out from the Blood Brothers. Meanwhile, to the east, we can see T2 Navy now being produced by Dante and T2 Navy about to start being produced by Samus. So we do need to see Grimplex tech up and get to Tech 2 very soon. He's going to be the only player without Tech 2 Navy here in just a little bit. Vespers being spammed out by Orico. And frigates are just holding the line for the Blood Brothers as of the moment. Meanwhile, Bloodthirst getting an upgrade, getting Regen Aura by the looks of it. If that finishes, that's going to mean all of these units will slowly heal up. Going to be very powerful for this Navy as long as he can manage to keep the comms safe while near the Navy battles. He will be able to keep this going, and the Regen Aura will save him a lot of trouble. T2 finishing onto the comm of Orico, who is over here doing Orico things. Yes, indeed. These are Orico things. You get T2 and then you stand here AFK for like 5 minutes because you don't. Yep, this is. Why did I spend all that money on that upgrade if I'm just going? You know what? No, you're the commander. I'm not the commander. I'm just the armored command unit. So why the hell would I? No, you need to tell me to do things. I'm not autonomous. God damn it. Somebody fire this ACU. He's not autonomous. Seriously, that seems like a huge waste. If you're going to get T2, build something immediately with it. Don't just sit there. I'm sure he's microing something else somewhere else. Meanwhile, Bloodthirst getting attacked by Vespers doesn't have a great counter to it as of yet. Gonna possibly need to get himself back up onto land. But as you can see, everything around him is getting 10 HP a second. Every one of these frigates is going to get 10 HP a second because of that regen aura. And that's going to be relatively powerful. Is that a Vesper or a destroyer? Is that a destroyer? I don't know what that was. That kind of looked like a destroyer to me, but maybe that was just a frigate. Was probably just a frigate. Either way, it capsized. It's going down to the bottom. Yeah, I guess it was just a frigate. Yeah, only 116 mass for the reclaim, so only a frigate. Meanwhile, over on the eastern flank, we can see that Samus and Dante are pressuring on the eastern side, while the Blood Brothers continue their pressure on the western side, and it's just going to get a little bit more difficult for the T-Baguette Alliance to hold on. Not as difficult as last game where Orico lost pretty much everything multiple times. Orico still has a strong economy, so does Grimplex, both players able to do their own thing. Meanwhile, a massive amount of Zooies coming over here to this island are going to be able to stop any attempts of Samus to hold on to this island. There was some Mantis, but that just wasn't enough, and that is going to be unfortunate. We did have T2 finished onto the column of Samus, has built up some T2 power, and we don't quite have, we do have some T2 power now out from the purple UEF player known as Dante. I think that was also with a T2 upgrade on the comm, so that is a T2 upgrade on the comm. We have T2 mexes out over here for Dante, holding on to that. The entirety of the middle island is now under the control of the Blood Brothers, having a very strong position in this game so far. The Blood Brothers currently at possibly the strongest economic point in the game, 59 mass a second for Bloodthirst and 52 a second for Bloodborne. Dante is sitting at 80 mass a second, and Sam is sitting at 55. Orico sitting at 51 and 46 for Grimplex. So all of the teams relatively close to each other, but the T-Baguette Alliance is somewhat behind. Meanwhile, as we look at Reclaim, we can see that overall Reclaim is 12,000 for the Super Noobs and 13,000 for the Blood Brothers versus 18,000 for the T-Baguette Alliance. Overall mass accrued this game, the Super Noobs are in the lead as of the moment by about 10,000 over both of the enemy teams, who are at 75,000 mass accrued in this game. Meanwhile, we have Jesters over here out from Samus going to be killing off this Zooey spam that took away the island. Now maybe just get out another engineer over here, build up some more factories, and retake this island. Going to try and deny it from Grimplex, who Grimplex over the past few minutes has just been consistently losing frigate count and now is getting T2 and going to be getting some destroyers. But a huge force out from the Blood Brothers has managed to get in towards Orico's base once again and is going to be able to do some damage. Once they get these Zooies in range, they will be able to kill off a whole bunch of this. We have a Miasma T2 artillery going online, but that's too late. And it's just simply not going to be enough. We do see a bunch of frigates. I would like to see them get in around a behind and start going after this production. Get rid of the T2 HQs, knock the T-Baguette Alliance back down to Tech 1 Navy, and you have absolutely ruined their game plan. The T-Baguette Alliance having not as much pressure from the Super Noobs, but just enough to cause the Grimplex's Navy to collapse, and being unable to hold off against this torrent of units now out from the Blood Brothers, who are just absolutely going to town. We have a bunch of Zooies over here now within range to fire at the main base of Orico. Orico taking the brunt of the attack once again. Whereas Grimplex now trying to get some T2 units over to try and help defend the naval production that is out for Orico, but Orico is going to be losing something here, at least some of the T1 factories. Those wouldn't be too huge losses, but if you just focus down onto this T2 HQ, it would work out very well. Are these repairing or assisting? They're all assisting. None of these are repairing the HQ. The HQ is going to be losing health rapidly. They just got the repair order. The HQ is getting a whole bunch of health back as we speak, but is able to out-heal the damage coming out from these frigates that are all focusing fire onto that HQ? I do not believe so. And that frigate is going to those frigates are going to be able to kill off the HQ. That's going to be Tech 1 back to the beginning. Here we are, started from the bottom, and now they're back at the bottom with the naval production for Orico. And Zooey's just walking into the base of Orico, killing off all of this. Orico having a flashback to Game 4, just seeing his base go up in flames. Meanwhile, we do have Dante harassing the northern lengths of the Blood Brothers base, and Dante is going to pay for this as the full brunt of the production out from the Blood Brothers is heading towards the Super Noobs now. You have poked the bear, you have poked the unpokable, or you've kicked the beehive, I guess. Stepped on the wasp nest, whatever you want to call it, hornet's nest, and have absolutely caused a large response. This is a not insignificant response out of the Blood Brothers. What do I do with it? You keep pinging. Okay. He has T2 PD. Alright. Meanwhile, Zooey's... Wow. Orico... At least this time, Orico keeps the side island. Orico now gets to build up his base on the side island, going to have these T2 mexes still. We don't see the same pressure that we saw last time with 2 comms showing up on this island because the Blood Brothers are a bit more distracted having to move up here. The Regen Aura going to be very useful. Did Bloodthirst also get... Yes, he also got Nano Repair, so the comm itself getting 70 health a second with no veterancy, and that is quite the number. Going to be also healing up all of these units. You can see Destroyers getting 15 health a second, Frigates getting 10, Zooey is getting 3. All of these units are just a tiny bit harder to kill with that regen every single second, and that is going to be a huge difference. We have a bunch of Barracuda T2 submarine hunter is now firing towards the comm of Bloodthirst, but the comm does not care, can take so much of the pain sent out from these torp bombers. And now we have a Bulwark shield boat showing up to try and help deal with Bloodthirst and the Blood Brothers. It's going to be a bit of a difficult situation to hold for the Blood Brothers, but they still have a lot of units. They have a ton of production back here. They have a ton of frigate production up here in the front, and I believe they both have the economies to support what they're doing. Yes, that's a well-balanced economy. That's a relatively well-balanced economy. All of these players are able to hold on to what they have. Meanwhile, the T-Baguette Alliance, yet again in that state where they need to rebuild. And these super noobs over here just trying to get some damage done against the Blood Brothers, trying to repeat their success from the last game. Whenever the T-Baguette Alliance got heavily hit, they always came up to the Blood Brothers to try and cause some counter damage. Manages to get one of the mexes of Bloodthirst, which is important. This time, key to note, Bloodborne and Bloodthirst actually swapping which opponents that they were closest to. Last time, well, no, they haven't, because last time Bloodborne was closest to the T-Baguette Alliance. So never mind, keeping the positions relatively the same. The Super Noobs, though, actually have, because last time Samus was closer to the Blood Brothers. Now they are closer to the T-Baguette Alliance. Very tiny changes in strategy, very minute differences in how they approach the game, but making all the difference as these Barracudas are just trying to throw damage into the comm of Bloodthirst, but not quite able to get enough done in time. And these destroyers out from Bloodthirst will be able to kill off the Barracudas. They have much more health, and they do more damage with their torpedoes, I'm pretty sure, so they will be able to kill off the submarines. The submarines, of course, costing massively less than the destroyers, and that's how it's kind of balanced. Meanwhile, we have some scouting out from Grimplex. And as the forces of the Super Noobs fall back, we enter somewhat of a state of a lull. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the game for a few minutes. We do have a Zooey push trying to congregate over here for Bloodborne towards the T-Baguette Alliance, but isn't quite going to be able to pull it off. We do have some Torp Bombers coming out to deal with this Vesper that was causing issues for the Blood Brothers. And we do have cruiser fire heading in towards the naval units of Dante and Samus. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and slow this down. We might have another naval battle popping up soon. A lot of Buzzkill DMD being built on this side island. Wants to try and rebuild up over here and keep this island for himself, Dante does. T2 land HQ built up by Dante. Could possibly even see it produce Riptides. Would be a nice little heads-up play. Just absolutely make Riptides. I mean, it's not a bad idea to make Riptides whenever you have this HQ. Riptides do a decent amount of damage to the surface action fleet. My voice is giving out on me. Too much casting over the course of a couple days. So if my voice does start sounding a little bit hoarse, that's why. Meanwhile, we have a transport that is kind of doomed. Yep, that's a doomed transport. And a large push out of the Blood Brothers, but they are starting to fall back. They're not going to go for the entirety of the naval force out over here. Do we see T3 Navy but torpedo bombers are better, at least better than T3 air. We do see I wonder if that question was, should I go T3 Navy? I don't believe so. We do have T3 Navy now out from the Super Noobs. We're going to see a Summit class battleship completing relatively soon. Like, it's not getting too much assistance, but Dante is seemingly able to not quite able to afford it. He's trying to, though. Samus is building a Galaxy class battleship as well, so we're going to be seeing two battleships completing relatively near the same time, so you could have quite the little bit of force being exerted towards the Blood Brothers, or even if they felt like it, throw it towards the base of the T-Baguette Alliance, which has been slowly growing in power down here. And as we look at total reclaim right now, we can see that the Super Noobs are sitting at 16,000, 21,000 for the Blood Brothers, and 35,000 for the T-Baguette Alliance. As we look at overall eco, though, total mass accrued, Super Noobs still well in the lead, sitting at 230,000 almost, versus their opponents at 150 and 170-ish respectively. So still at a large advantage, and just needs to be able to hold on. Having to produce a lot of TMD is Dante. I don't know if Dante can afford the TMD production at the moment. Dante having a bit of an economical struggle at the moment, trying to get out that battleship. The battleship does solve a lot of the issue he's having. Gonna be able to push off these cruisers from just absolutely bombarding his area. Meanwhile, in the south, it does seem that Orico and Grimplex have managed to build up quite nicely and are now back in this game, back to being major players. Dante and Samus have managed to fight out quite a little bit and get the Blood Brothers distracted from what was originally their primary goal. They've had a game plan this entire time. All of the teams, admittedly, have come in with a relatively decent game plan. Orico has come in with the strong focus on grabbing the side island. Then Grimplex has always come in every single game focusing heavily on building naval units. Meanwhile, the Blood Brothers have focused on very early aggression, usually directed at the TBA, and the Super Noobs have focused on getting to the higher tech, the later stage of the game as quickly as possible, teching up, not bothering with the early or mid game, just trying to stay unnoticed for most of it. And these players have stayed true to their game plan and have decided to play to their best according to said game plan. Let's go ahead and speed this up. The battleships are done. In fact, I do want to get a very pretty picture of these two battleships working in unison. You can see the differences between the Cybran and the UEF are many, but they still both rely on big naval guns. Isn't that the point? The beauty of this war is in its destruction, but in its destruction you must construct. It's a very constructive destruction, if you may. As some units die, others are built, and as some are built, others die, and it's just this absolute circle of devastation. It's beautiful to watch. It's like the circle of life, but with robots. It's a circle of FA. Dun, dun, dun. Don't copyright claim me. Dun, dun, dun. Every game you go further into this, it just gets more and more of a fucking shit show where I'm brain drained and don't have any useful commentary to add to the game. But that's perfectly fine, isn't it? It's why you all like me. Hell, most of you all watch this muted. I get a bunch of messages saying, I watch it muted, but it's still good. And I also get messages saying, I watch it at 2 times speed, but it's still good. You're like, yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm annoying. You can just say it. Just, if you think I'm annoying, go put it in the comments right after you like and subscribe. If you think I'm not annoying, go put it in the comments right after you like and fucking subscribe. God damn it. I need 1,000 subscribers, god damn it. I'm hoping to reach it before July. There's some quality fucking content that I bring to you with much pain. It pains me to sit here and talk and yell and ruin my throat every fucking day. I'm kidding. No, I love you all. It's a joy to make these, and I enjoy making them. Don't read into the stupid, sarcastic comments I make. Meanwhile, down here, we do see that this area has been reclaimed, well, has been reestablished for the Samus, the cult of Samus that's down here, producing itself some T2 mexes. The UI, you have to attack Grimplex. Attack Grimplex, moving. Okay, so they're deciding to attack Grimplex now, after some scouting. I am throwing. Why? We just attacked south, then we are out. Is it because of the time? Yes. So we can see that the Blood Brothers, I will give context to this. I was actually in voice chat with Explosive during the final matches of the game. Explosive had to be up in about 6 hours. Explosive is Bloodthirst, by the way. So he is deciding to throw everything at this point into making sure the Super Noobs win. So we do have a little bit of diplomacy showing up, and we do see a somewhat fragile but still there alliance out from the Blood Brothers and Super Noobs. Meanwhile, we do see all of the forces of the Bloodthirstian cult and the Blood Brothers in general are going to be moving south and going to be attacking into the base of the T-Baguette Alliance. The T-Baguette Alliance having these Yathsaus, these T3 submarine hunters for the Seraphim out, is going to be a bit difficult to deal with. These submarine hunters have great range and great damage. They can be killed if you get up really close into them, but with anything short of that will not work. And we do have, of course, the battleships out from Dante and Samus, the Super Noobs, are going to be making their way south. We do see Galaxy and Summit class battleships just moving down towards the base of Grimplex. Meanwhile, a large naval battle taking place over here for the Blood Brothers and the T-Baguette Alliance. Just so much happening. You can see the submarines underwater firing their submarine shots. You can see the absolute destruction going on every which way. The comm of Bloodthirst dying to the submarine hunters. Oh my word, that was a very quick death. That comm was very tanky with Nano and Regen Aura, and we see the comm of Bloodborne transporting over onto the island of the T-Baguette Alliance. And meanwhile, over here we have a GC being built up by the T-Baguette Alliance. It's going to be an intense match right here. Bloodborne in here with the gun comm, going to be trying to kill off all of this eco, trying to kill off everything on this island, going to need to be getting major damage done. Meanwhile, over on this flank, we can see the battleships getting so much leeway, getting so much damage done, so much inroads towards the base of Grimplex, going to be killing off a T3 Power and a T3 Mechs. It's going to be very difficult for the T-Baguette Alliance to hold on here, but they might have a GC done here in just a few seconds. A heavy assistance out from Grimplex and a decent amount out from Orico onto that GC being built. The main base of the T-Baguette Alliance is under heavy assault now from both teams. The Bloodborne is now losing health at a rapid pace to these T1 PD. Let's turn the HUD back on so we can see the health points on this comm. And let's track it for now, because this comm is probably the most at risk at the moment. Go back to Observer. We can see the comm sitting at about 3,000 health. Wait, why didn't you track it? Thank you. 3,000 health on. Oh damn it! Oh god, I'm so bad at this. Okay, track it. Okay, there we go. We're tracking the comm. We can see it's at 1,000 health and falling. That PD is very close to killing off the comm. Is it going to manage it? The comm down to 300 health and falling. Oh, it manages to kill off the PD. Is any of this incoming fire going to manage to kill off the comm? The comm now regenning 34 health a second with 4 vet on that comm. Going to hit 5 vet very soon as it kills off mass extractors. Is it going to manage to kill them off in time? A Spectre gunship coming in to fire onto the comm. It does vet up and gets to 5,000 HP, but the GC is done, is going to be able to walk out of the water and start killing off the... It could kill off Bloodborne. It could kill off Bloodborne. Get rid of one half of the attack. And oh my word, is this going to happen? Is Bloodborne going to survive this? Bloodborne's going to need to run away from the GC. The GC coming in quickly. 2,000 HP and falling. 2,500. The GC about to be in range. Is it going to be enough? And Bloodborne immediately has all of his HP evaporate as that GC gets into range. And we're going to turn off that and look over here. The battleships have managed to absolutely annihilate the base of Grimplex, and they are continuing to move forward. The GC now needs to start walking its way over to the island of the Super Noobs. The Super Noobs relatively unscathed out of all of this, and possibly we can see Orico try and expand up to this island. We don't know how much eco they have left. We do know that the T-Baguette Alliance has been absolutely brutalized, and this GC is kind of where the hope of the game stands at the moment. We're going to go ahead and track the GC too, because why wouldn't we? Meanwhile, the GC is going to be killing off that Neptune-class battle cruiser very soon, and that's going to be death, but there are a lot of battleships. It's going to be very difficult to deal with this. Oh my word, a lot of battleships. We might be even be able to see some gunships come out to help deal with this. Let's go ahead and... Oh, we have Barracudas! Barracuda's now out from Samus, dealing damage to this Galactic Colossus. We can see health falling off in the thousands every single second it's in the water. It needs to get out of the water, but it's going to have to cross through the water again. That's the desync I was talking about. It doesn't affect too much, don't worry. The GC now making its way out of the water, 60,000 health, only 2/3 of its HP are left. Now going to need to be getting shot at, are going to need to dodge some of these shots out of the battleships. Battleships able to do a lot of damage to experimentals. We can see shots out of those Summit class battleships and those Galaxy class battleships being poured into the Galactic Colossus. We have a whaler now out. Do we see those submarines? Are they making their way around the edge of the island? Yes, they are. They need to be making their way over here to deal damage to this Galactic Colossus before it makes it to the mainland. Can we see any comms in the picture? I do not believe so. I think the comms have evacuated this island upon seeing the GC approaching. We do have more whalers showing up. The Barracudas are now making their way over, going to be launching mini missiles into this. The comm of Samus even having the torpedo upgrade on it right now. We're going to see the comm of Samus is going to start running away. There's nothing you can do with a GC against the comm of Samus underneath the water, and we see the whalers and the battleships pouring damage into this GC, and the GC dies at the front doorstep, having only killed a single shield generator. That GC loses all of its health before doing anything other than killing the Bloodborne team, or the Blood Brothers, by killing Bloodborne. And now we see all of these submarine hunters, all of these Barracudas are hunting down the Yahtzaus, those T3 sub-hunters. The thing about the Yahtzaus, they lose against the T2 and T1 submarines as long as the T2 and T1 submarines can get in range. They lose horribly. The thing about them is they have such range, you have to kite with them. They're not good in these kinds of fights where you're fighting off a bunch of Barracudas unless you can keep them at range. The battleships are starting to move up, and at this point the whalers are now getting involved, going to be killing off some more of this eco, and this T3 HQ is going to be under massive threat, and the T3 sub-hunter is only going to be able to kill off one Barracuda at a time. It's not going to do too much damage to this. These Barracudas also having those counter torpedo defenses, and this HQ is losing health rapidly. I believe very soon this is going to be GG. I don't see how Orico and Grimplex can hold off the constant naval production. We even have units up here to stop them from expanding to this island. They just need to move a little bit further south, and these battleships are slowly inching their way forward, having some pathfinding issues as they're controlled by two different players, but able to get some work done. The HQ desperately low on HP and going down, and with that, I believe that is GG. We can see ARAS finishing up. Oh no, ARAS was canceled, it would seem, from Rico, and it is going to be that. We can see the comm of Grimplex being fired at by multiple battleships here in just a moment. I don't believe he's going to be able to survive it. Rico, and Grimplex are in a desperate situation, and I think it's game over. Grimplex dies, and now we have 5 battleships now bearing down on the position. There's 7 T2 artillery here to try and hold this off, but the T2 artillery take exceptionally long to kill him, and Orico is now dead, and that's the end of Game 5. And with that, nobody would have expected it, but the Super Noob team, the underdogs, are now at match point against the T-Baguette Alliance. We're going into Game 6. And it's going to be an intense one. The Blood Brothers have already pretty much inked an agreement saying they will not win. They have given up on winning, but they have decided that they believe the Super Noobs should win. So, Game 6, we're going to have to see how it turns out, but it's going to be an interesting one. So stay tuned, like and subscribe, and onwards to Game 6! Welcome to Game 6. Match point for both the Super Noobs and the Teabagette Alliance. The Blood Brothers have pretty much decided that they do not want the Teabagette Alliance to win. So, we're going to have to see how they plan to make that happen in this very juicy game. A little bit of a disclaimer. Due to a whole bunch of people leaving, including observers and players, this game, just like Game 5, has a desync. The desync in this one is much more significant and affects the way the game actually was played. I was watching this one live. Affects how the game was played massively. That is unfortunate, but I am going to cast it nonetheless, and I apologize. But it's still a good game. Let's go ahead and point out where each of the teams are. Down here in the bottom, we have the Super Noob Alliance. Over here on the western side, we can see already both comms of the Blood Brothers moving directly towards the island of the Teabagette Alliance. And honestly, this is a very early move. Just building one factory and walking is incredibly risky, but at the same time, it is a move you can make, and if it's scouted, is the worst situation. And unfortunately, we have an early bomber play out from Orico, so it does look like it might be scouted unless that bomber is going to go down towards the Super Noobs. Speaking of which, Teabagette Alliance is over here. We can see that early T1 bomber. Let's go ahead and see what Orico can see, and when he can see it, how early is he going to be aware of what's coming. He can probably already see radar signatures starting now. That's a Zooey. That is a bunch of Zooeys and a comm. When you fly over and you just see that, you know it's a comm. Bloodborne is going to be the first to arrive at the scene. Oh no, Bloodborne mentioning that they have been scouted. Good luck, have fun, heart you guys. Do you guys use hotkeys? Okay, either way, we do have Bloodthirst and Bloodborne moving over here. I'm pretty sure I know where the early game action's going to be, so I'm just going to focus on this said island. We do have the bomber going to be trying to get off some kills on these Zooeys as they make their way across. Bloodborne making a mistake, grouping up his Zooeys, needs to keep them moving. These Zooeys could take a lot of damage. One bomb dropping right there. These Zooeys probably need to try and dodge the bomber. And yes, they are. They're spreading out quite well to try and dodge the bomber. Rico coming out with the comm, and he's going to be meeting Bloodborne at the beaches, at the beach head that he's trying to establish. Bloodthirst not far behind. Orico in a very dicey situation as these comms do battle. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we can just keep it looking very nice and pretty. Bloodborne pushing in. Bloodborne taking a lot of health damage due to Auroras and the comm of Orico, but he knows he has backup. He knows that Bloodthirst will be showing up soon, decides to pull off as the comm of Grimplex is heading this way now. We will have to keep an eye on how these players are doing what they do. Let's go ahead and reset the camera to that. We can see that Bloodborne and Bloodthirst, I fucked it up again. Bloodborne and Bloodthirst are getting really close to the comm of Orico. Orico is trying to make it to the water over here, but is getting blocked by the comm of Bloodthirst. Is this going to be enough? I don't know why I'm doing this fancy camera stuff now all of a sudden. Oriko's trying to run away, is going to be trying to get to the further beach. Bloodborne and Grimplex doing a dance, doing the absolute chattest of dances, a slow dance in fact. It's not quite a fast dance. What can you expect out of a Seraphim and a UEF though? We do have that bomber returning, going to be dropping bombs onto the comms of Bloodthirst and Bloodborne. Bloodborne going dangerously low on health on 2,000, 2,300 for Oriko as well. This could be a death. Oh my god, a Control K out of Bloodthirst kills off both Bloodborne and Oriko, and Grimplex is left on 3,800 HP. And with that, are we going to see anything happen? Of course, Grimplex gets all of this, but now the super noobs are in a great position. Their economies are much stronger and in a much better position. Oh my word, this may have ended up killing off the T-Baguette Alliance. It's up to Grimplex to try and hold on here. And oh my word, you can just see a transport now out from Dante to try and take over the island formerly held by the Blood Brothers. There's not much reclaim, but there are all of these mexes. And this is going to be a brutal situation. The game paused and resumed for some reason or another. Meanwhile, we do see Grimplex getting into the water, heading towards the middle of the map with his comms still low on health, only 4,000 HP. If the super noobs can get eyes on that comm, they will know that it is an easy snipe. It does not take very much to snipe 4,000 HP. You can do that with T1 bombers if you need to. Grimplex having to build up an economy very quickly, but is very early on getting a lot of reclaim, is power spamming right now, is going to have a lot of power and a lot of mass to work with. The Super Noob team as a whole is actually kind of behind economically against the combined eco that was built up by Grimplex and Oriko. Grimplex now in the central island. And are we going to see anything happening? We do see Dante's comm starting to move towards the middle. Samus's comm is getting a T2 upgrade. So we'll have to see exactly how all of this happens. Over here we can see some drops out from Dante are taking over this westernmost island. And we can see that the transport out from Grimplex is going to be dropping engineers over here. Is it going to be enough? We do have a PD starting to be built. He's trying to get away. He's going to need to get up either a PD or reclaim these engineers, and he's not reclaiming the engineers, so that does look like it's going to be a death of this expansion for Dante. Dante's not going to be able to hold on to this, and oh my word, that is absolutely horrible, as Grimplex is going to be able to hold on to this. Grimplex looking like he might be able to pull this back despite the early play. It does look like Grimplex is going to be losing a lot of health to these frigates now. Dante's comm is in the area. Dante's comm just needs to walk at him, and then they can get up some torp bombers. Let's go ahead and slow the game back down. We do have a ton of frigates now out from Grimplex. We have a lot of production now getting set up for Samus. What is going to happen over here? Dante holding this island. Dante moving in towards the comm of Grimplex. Can they see each other? They can't quite see each other, but he knows the comm is there. He's going to be walking towards the comm. Is going to fire a couple of shots. No, isn't going to fire a couple of shots. The comm goes invisible? What? Why is the comm invisible? Isn't this Omni range? Dante walking away from the comm, a critical mistake in my opinion. You could just walk over. You could walk over, pop a couple of shots, Control K with a torp bomber. You have a torp bomber's out. You can end the game right now. Dante, you just scouted. You just scouted the comm. You know the comm's right there. Going to have these torp bombers bomb the comm. That's not going to be enough. There's tons of interceptors now out for Grimplex. These interceptors can stop the torp bombers. The torp bombers bringing the comm down low health. He's within comm bomb range. You can just get your no, don't shoot the factory. You can kill off the comm of Grimplex right now. Grimplex barely going to be able to survive the torp bombers, but is going to be able to survive it by getting on land and killing off the torp bombers. Do we have anything? We have a Lobo drop out from Dante. It's going to be killing off the T2 Air HQ out from Dante. We have a T2, and there's the desync. And oh man, I hate that this game desynced. It was so intense all the way through. Of course, I was watching this game live as well. I'm going to speed it up because from this point on, the game actually, what happens is not what happens in the real game, and it doesn't make much sense. I'm going to talk vaguely about what happens as it happens in here. It does somewhat happen. Over here, all of these factories do not get destroyed. Like, immediately it starts affecting the game. All of these factories do not get destroyed. He does get T2 factories up. Or maybe they do get destroyed, but he gets T2 factories up for Navy, Samus does. It doesn't happen in this replay, unfortunately. We have T2 on the way for Dante, and a T2 Air HQ has been replaced. He's going to get a transport up, and he's going to start making his way over for a comm drop onto the main base of Grimplex. We're going to slow it down for the comm drop because I kind of want to explain that this replay does not do justice to what Dante achieves on the comm drop. So, yeah, gets a T2 power built up, is going to get gun damage and range, already has T2 on the comm, and is going to go for the comm drop relatively soon. So, Dante is going to go ahead and start getting the comm drop all the way over there. Come on. I don't know why it's taking so long for him to get on the transport. He didn't take this long in the real game, I'm 99% sure of it. The interceptors were pulled away by torp bombers from Grimplex. He lands, so here is where the desync really starts to cause massive desynchronization from what actually happened. So Dante lands, he starts throwing up PD and a shield. These PD are not able to be built because of the preemptive PD that were built up by Grimplex. What is entirely different about this game compared to this replay compared to the real game is when Dante dies. Dante actually gets a lot more work done than happens in the replay and kills off a whole bunch more of this that was built up by Grimplex. But it doesn't show up because for some reason Dante doesn't overcharge here when he did overcharge in the real game. So the overcharge, of course, doesn't happen, does not kill off a lot of this happening. He overcharges and dodges the artillery shots really well, but here he's barely dodging the artillery shots and just absolutely gets destroyed off by the Lobos. So that is going to be the death of Dante. Also, these PD were all killed by Dante's gun comm. He did a lot better than that with that. Also, the point where Samus dies makes no sense. Samus does get up T2 naval production and ends up with a bunch of Barracudas at some point, and is using Barracudas and his comms torpedo upgrade, which he's about to get, to inflict serious damage onto the navy of Grimplex. Grimplex, of course, expanding up here, so does have an economic advantage, but Samus puts out a huge amount of pressure and a lot of does a lot well. Actually, maybe this, yeah, I think this would have upgraded to T2 HQ. He did lose all of these factories earlier. Has a bunch of gunships to try and help with this, but overall, the point where Samus dies in this game is not actually where Samus died in the real game. I think he dies a lot earlier somehow, but still, we're gonna just speed it up and get to the point where Samus dies, because honestly, it's no fun watching a desynced replay. Nothing that's happening really happened. It's like a butterfly effect. One thing doesn't happen, and then 1,000 other things don't happen. So yeah, we're just gonna speed it up and get through this. And here in a moment, we'll have, I already mentioned that Samus dies. So yes, your champions, of course, are Grimplex and Orico, who, I was trying to keep it to the end, but Grimplex and Orico win. This desync absolutely sucked, but they do go to the end. You get torpedo upgrade, and you can see him going here. At this point, he had a bunch of Barracudas to help him. This was probably upgraded to T2. He had a bunch of Barracudas to help him, and he was actually killing off the massive majority of the T1 spam out here from Grimplex, and this fight goes on for a little while. But now Samus is going to fall back, and then randomly, it would seem, he just kind of dies to a Control K, pretty much. He dies almost at full health in the desync. He just walks over here, and then he's just going to blow up, which is a little bit weird. Yeah, it's just weird. But the champions of the Darkest Heart tournament, congratulations to T Baguette Alliance. Congratulations to Grimplex and Orico, and commiserations to the Blood Brothers, Bloodthirst and Bloodborne, and to the Super Noobs, Samus759 and Dante, who came so close to winning this series. I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the tournament, who was Sergeant Syphilis. He was also a participant. He did contribute the prize pool of $50. I'd like to say I hope that the champions are appreciating and enjoying their avatars. Everybody who was in the top 3, the finalists, are able to get avatars for the chat in Aeolus. But yes, that is the end of the tournament. Thank you to my patrons, Timothy Calderwood, Sergeant Syphilis, and Nogthar. Thank you to everybody else for watching. Like and subscribe. Join me on Discord. I love each and every one of you. I'll see you again. This has been the end of the Dark Heart Tournament. In a few days, I'll be casting the beginnings. Doing everything backwards. Either way, see you in the next one. Goodbye.